Hola yuppie everybody! Oh boy. Hi hi! Oh gosh. Okay. Hello! Apologies if I came a little bit late. In my phone was being a bit mean and wasn't letting me post on Instagram for a little bit that I was streaming. But I am entirely prepared today. Today more or less we're gonna have kind of an ASMR stream, TBH, because I'm reading Umineko today. It's one of the game series, or more like novel series, I've been wanting to get into for very long. I love Higurashi a lot. And with the new anime, with Go and Sotsu making more references to Umineko, I'm like, okay, it's time. It's time I read this. So that's what I'm gonna be doing today. Let's see. Game capture, there we go. I think this should work. So I am using the 7th expansion mod for this, which is basically it's a mod that that just replaces the Steam novel graphics with the PS3 ones and adds the voice acting and everything as well. So the game is more or less gonna be fully voiced. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have choices. I believe it's pretty Kinect, so it's mostly just gonna be reading and clicking through text. And a lot of meta-narrative and a lot of murder! With some magic. So before I start, just a very quick heads up, like a very quick content warning. Umineko, since it's a murder mystery, it's gonna have a lot of murder, graphic violence, and stuff, and it has other sensitive content like depictions of abuse and the like. So I'm just mentioning for those who are sensitive to this sort of thing, maybe to give this one a pass or just to have some discretion when you watch me read this. But without further ado, I'm gonna start with episode 1, The Legend of the Golden Witch. Welcome to Rokenjima. The Golden Witch extends her heartfelt greetings. Please take it easy and relax for the time being. There's no need to think overly hard about any of this. Quietly accept all that is about to happen. That is all that's being asked of you. The difficulty level is standard. We might as well at least start by taking the easy road. Alright. This seems to imply to me that there are choices or something. I'm kinda scared. New function, tips mode. In the middle of the game, at any time, a right click with the mouse will open up the tips mode. Here, besides the save and load functions, you can view character profiles and more. That's pretty cool. Additional information will be added as you progress through the story. Probably a good idea to take a peek here every once in a while. Okay, I need to see how to check the tips later. I'm not sure if Higurashi has this. Let's go! Time for murder! Yes, with some magic and with... Oh! Beatrice! I watched like the first 4 episodes of Umineko, so I kinda know a little bit about this arc that I'm playing, but I remember almost nothing. So, let's see. How's the game volume and the voice volume? Is it good? The old physician let out a sigh as he removed the stethoscope. 2 elderly men could be seen in the dimly lit study, which was filled with dust and a sickly sweet stench. Okay, it's a bit loud, then let's make it quieter. How about now? Okay, I lowered it. Seems alright for now. Okay, let's go. In the corner of this room, which was much larger than what most people would call a study, was an expensive-looking bed, a man undergoing a medical examination, and the physician conducting it. There was also what appeared to be a servant watching over the whole scene. Oh, it's him! Yami okirisaku o desire! That's all I know about Kinzo. The bottle is my friend. Wow. As a man bearing his chest for the stethoscope rearranged his clothes, he spoke unapologetically.
Kinzo-san, あんたの体が一見調子がいいのは薬だが、そんな強い酒を飲み続けては薬の意味もなくなってしまう。
I'm gonna see if I can actually increase the voice volume a little bit. Let's see. I can't. Wait, exit. Wow, the sound effect is glass. That's nice. Okay, music, voices. I want more. More voice. Okay, this sounds good. Can't get over the way his tie is tucked into his shirt. It's horrible. Yeah, isn't it? It like the cape also doesn't make sense. Ryukishi, please. Okay, I think this should be okay. Blah, 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 blah. The treatment will become meaningless. Blah, blah, blah. Trust my judgment.
酒は控えなさい。
忠告の気持ちだけはありがたくいただいておく。
Why the hell is the tucked fashion? Mr. Kinzo believes in his own fashion.
源氏、もう一杯頼む。
Man, dead ass in the doctor and is like, give me another glass.
心持ち薄めでな。南條の顔も立ててやれ。
よろしいのですか?
Oh, him. I don't remember seeing him in the anime. After eyeing both the master who demanded the alcohol and the family doctor who forbade it, Genji, the old butler, silently gave a slight nod and carried out his master's order faithfully. He looks smooth. Who, Genji? I think so. The family doctor Nanjo let out a deep sigh once again as he watched the butler busy himself alongside the liquor cabinet. There was a smell filling up the room. He looks physically like a candle. No! He does. He looks like an action man with a suit. Okay, there was a smell filling up the room. The sweet, poisonous aroma felt as though it melted the heart, if not the soul itself. It was the smell of that venomous green drink that the man couldn't bear to part with. What drink? What kind of alcohol has green color?
お前は私の長きにわたる親友だ。
Okay.
今日まで私をながらえさせてくれたことを深く感謝する。
Absinthe. Oh shit. Kinzo out here drinking absinthe?
医者としての忠告など、金蔵さんは全く聞いてくれませんからな。
Yikes. I think Kinzo just wants to die.
お前とて差し間違えた手を待てと言っても聞かぬではないか。
Oh, and they're playing chess through all of this, going to the doctor, drinking alcohol in his face like absinthe, and then even playing chess. What a man.
あいこというものだろう。
There's a joke there, people go blind from drinking too much absinthe. Oh jeez.
親方様。
Yes?
すまぬ。薬は切れても死にませんが、こいつが切れては死んでしまうでな。
Alcohol keeps me alive. They're bros, okay? Yes, understandable. Disregarding Nanjo, who had his face set in his resigned expression, Kinzo took the glass that Genji was holding out to him. Very few people would associate that venomous color with an alcoholic beverage. Yeah, I wouldn't.
Nanjo, 正直に話せ。私の命はあとどの程度持つ？
さて、どのくらいと申し上げれば、そのお酒を控えてくれますやら。
Nanjo once again let out a sigh of resignation. Then, he finally spoke to Kinzo as the latter swirled his glass. My English reading is not the best, sorry. You don't have long. Wow, thank you! Thank you for the very specific time frame.
このチェスで例えましょう。金蔵さんの爪もなかなかですが、私のキングを追い詰めるには至りますまい。
Nanjo's gaze was directed at a side table with a massive chess set placed on top of it. If I understood anything about chess, I would comment, but I can't say anything. Judging by the position of the pieces, the game seemed to be entering its final stage. Black's rook and bishop were cutting deeply into enemy lines. White's king had already been casted and cornered, so that even an amateur could see that the match would reach its conclusion before too long. Every time Nanjo came to a medical examination, both of them would make a few moves. Nanjo was hinting that Kinzo would most likely fall into his eternal sleep before this game could be concluded. They were less the words of a physician than they were the words of an old friend. Oh, I see.
普通の患者になら遺言を書くよう勧める頃です。
遺言とはなんだ、南條。私の屍をどのように食い散らかせとハゲタカどもに指南する書き置きなのか。
Oh my god.
いや、違いますぞ。遺言は意思を残すことだ。
My will for later generations is for them to keep drinking this alcoholic
遺
drink.
産分配のことだけを書くものじゃない。
ほう。遺産分配以外に書くこととは何なのか。
心残りややり残し、受け継いでほしいことや伝えたいこと、何でもいいんです。
受け継いでほしいことや伝えたいことだとバカバカしい。この後ろ宮金蔵、後に残したいことも伝えたいこともただの一つもないわ。裸一貫で生まれた。そして裸一貫で死ぬ。バカ息子どもに残したいものなど何一つないわ。
Okay, boomer.
もしも訪れる最後が今日だとしても今だとしても、私は何も恐れることなくその死の運命を受け入れようではないか。全てを築き上げた。
Okay.
富も名誉も全てだ。それらは私と共に築き上げられ、私と共に失われよう。
Jeez, Kinzo.
後に残してやるものなど何もないわ。
I will take the money down with me.
何もない。あとは野となれ山とな
The
れ。
alcohol too.
墓も棺も何も望まぬわ。それが魔女と私の契約だ。私が死ぬ時に全て初めからその約束だからこそ何も残らぬのだ。何も残せぬのだ。
Okay. After reaching a furious crescendo, Kinzo suddenly slumped over. Welp, I guess he's dead. His expression was limp and feeble, as though an evil spirit had possessed him and then left. Time to stop drinking! Yes, indeed!
だが未練はある。
Is he gonna talk about Beatrice now?
残すものは何一つないが、残したまま行けぬものが。
それを書き記せばいい。もちろん生きているうちにこなせればそれでいい。だが万一の時、残されたものがそれを引き継いでくれる。自分に万一があっても必ずその心残りが解決できるように残していく。それが遺言というものです。
When Nanjo tried to gently pat Kinzo's shoulder, the dying man flew into sudden rage and batted away Nanjo's hand. Don't touch me!
ダメだダメだダメだ。私が生きているうちでなくてはならぬ。私は死ねば魂はすぐに契約の悪魔に食らわれて消え去ってしまう。死後の世界も安らぎも私にはないのだ。だから全ては私が生きているうちでなければならぬ。だから遺言状など私には必要ない。そのようなものを書く暇があったなら私は見たい。もう一度見たい。
Hi! Also, yes. Oh, there it is. Oh, Beatrice!
ベアトリーチェ、なぜに私をこれほどまでに拒むのか。
Oh my
今
god.
こそお前に与えられた全てを返そう。全てを失おう。だから最後にもう一度だけお前の美少を見せてくれ。ベアトリーチェ、頼む交渉だ。聞こえているはずだ。お前はそういう女だ。頼む、姿を見せてくれ。いるんだろう。聞こえていながら姿を消し、今もこの部屋のどこかで私を嘲笑っているのだろう。私の前にもう一度現れてくれ。そして微笑んでくれ。
Damn.
なじってくれてもいい。望むならお前の手で私の命を奪ってくれてもいい。
So basically he's saying Beatrice, please step on me.
このまま一人で死にたくない。お前の微笑みを再び一目見るまでは絶対に
It's
死ね
time
な
to
いの
stop.
だ。
Indeed it is.
ああ、ベアトリーチェ、ベアトリーチェ。この命はくれてやる。お前にくれてやる。五章だ。ベアトリーチェ。
Oh my god. It's worse than I remember. The only thing I know about Kinzo is that he adores Beatrice and is like, oh, Beatrice! Today I am reading Umineko When They Cry. It's part of the When They Cry franchise. More or less it has connections to Higurashi, so I'm very curious to see where they are. I know some, but let's see. But what if you had to read all of this yourself? God! My neighbors would be like, what's happening? The opening reminds me a little bit of the anime opening, just a little bit less hardcore. Hi NCK, hope you're doing well. It's the music. Yeah, the music in Umineko and Higurashi both are so good. I want someone to scream my name the same way as he screamed for Beatrice. Yeah, relatable. I'm doing very well, very excited to watch. I've been curious about this VN. Me too. I know I've been spoiled on some things already, like some of the connections it has with Higurashi, allegedly, because of the Sotsu anime, but aside of the first 4 episodes I watched of the anime, I know nothing, and I don't even remember what really happens in those episodes. Aside of Beatrice makes Battler cry, and that's it.
たったの20分でついちまったんだから驚いちまうぜ。
I think the alleged connections with Higurashi is more like a meta-narrative thing. I'm not sure what exactly, so I'm curious to discover what those connections they are in this visual novel. We used to go by boat. Back then, we were all forced to endure nearly half a day of swaying back and forth over the sea before we reached Nijima. Things have gotten so much more convenient these days. Still, I've never been on a plane this small. I wouldn't like to be on a plane that small. I've flown in a huge jumbo jet before, but this will be my first experience in such a tiny one. It's gonna shake, isn't it? I don't know, Battler. Find out. They say smaller boats shake more than big ones, so I guess the same rule probably applies to planes. Ah, just spare me.
大丈夫だよ、バトラ君。
The plane looks like Knuckles. It does.
船に比べたら全然揺れは少ないよ。おい、ジョージの兄貴かよ。急に勘弁してくれよ。今ので寿命が3年縮んじまったぜ。
Damn.
つうか、揺れってなんすか？
Can be easily blown by a small breeze so easily. Yeah, it does. It kind of freaks me out.
別に俺飛行機も揺れんのかな、まさか落ちたりしねえかななんて夢にも思っちゃいないぜ。
I mean, the way you're sweating, Battler?
ごめんごめん。もう小さい頃とは違うよね。あれから6年も経ってるんだし、もうバトラ君も子供じゃないか。
George is wholesome.
じゃあ、兄貴はタバコも酒も OK ってかよ。タバコは興味ねえけど、酒は飲んでみたいよな。
Don't become like your grandfather, please.
兄貴なんかおじさんの遺伝子あんなら相当飲めちゃいそうだけど。
僕の場合は好きで飲むというよりは仕事で飲む方が多いからね。
For business rather than pleasure? What? Imagine drinking for business. What?
日本のビジネスは酒抜きでは難しいよ。
Okay, I got it. Okay, I got it. Okay.
そうっすよね。
Okay, I shouldn't have laughed.
だから俺も今晩の夕食あたりに初挑戦してみようかなって。
It's a thing in Japan, right? I'm not sure. That's actually something I have to research and read about. But when I first read business drinking, I thought he would be like making business deals over drinks, like at a meeting, and I was like, what? Oh, after work drinking. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that's right. That's the thing that happens. Okay, that makes sense.
ダメだよ。バトラ君はまだ未成年じゃないか。
Battler is still a
未成年の
minor?
飲酒は発育に悪影響を及ぼす可能性が。
I was sure Battler was like 20.
こんだけタッパがありゃ俺の発育は十分っすから。
I'm tall enough already. That's not a prerequisite, man.
むしろちょいと身長縮めた方が服が探しやすいくらい。
I puffed my chest out proudly. Battler going into a bar and saying I want a drink, and they're like, sir, you're a minor, and he's like, no, I'm big. Until I hit my growth spurt, my height was below average in my class. But then I grew and grew, and before I knew it, I passed 180 centimeters, 5 feet, 11 inches. I'm so glad they wrote it in centimeters. I'd be like in pain if it was just in feet. I guess I have all that muscle training and those shady mail order performance enhancing drugs to thanks for that. Excuse me? Before then, I never dreamed that I'd shoot 10 centimeters above George Aniki, who'd reached his peak height early on. Damn, I'll bet my relatives all say, look how big you've grown, Battler-chan, or something. It's also embarrassing. I wish they'd just give me a break. Anyway, my name, Battler. Well, it's pretty damn weird, don't you think? Kinda. I've gotta wonder what my parents were thinking when they named me that. I've never met anyone who could read it right the first time. I usually get called Sento-kun. Uh-huh. Sorry, but that's not even close. My name is written... I can't read that. Oh god, I can read hiragana, but I can't read kanji. I know the last one is means hito, I think, but when it's combined with other kanjis, I don't know. Can you read it? No! Thanks for asking! The first part is my family name Ushiromiya. Okay, thank you. That's a very plausible Japanese pronunciation so far. Uh-huh. The problem is my given name. It's made up of the characters for fight and person. Ah, okay, so I did read that one kanji right. And it's pronounced battler. Put it all together and you've got Ushiromiya Battler. Pretty crazy, right? It's crazy enough that my parents decided to call me that, but it's even more crazy that some government worker let them make it official. Hey, at least you're not called Let's Go Daki, like like in Portugal or something. Both groups are at the top of my must-kill list. Jeez. Anyway, this is one of my... The government is on my must-kill list. Anyway, this is my cousin. His name is Ushiromiya George. He's 5 years older than me, so he must be turning 23 this year. I have to calculate. 22, 20. Oh, it's 18. I was about to count 17. Bruh, I'm dumb. Because I was trying to make sense of George saying like, oh, but you're a minor. Okay, so I'm glad. You please listen. I'm shit at math. I was counting on my fingers. He's 5 years older. Since the Ushiromiya cousins consist of 2 boys and 2 girls, I ended up playing with George all the time. And because I've always thought of him as a big brother, I still call him Aniki today.
しかしバトラ君は大きくなったな。男子3日を合わざれば刮目して待つべしとはよう言うたもんや。
Typical protagonist age. Yeah, you're right.
やっぱり近しらね。
Mommy!
ルドルフも高校くらいまでは身長そんなになかったのよ。成長期が遅い方が最終的には伸びるのかもね。
If there's one thing I really love in the When They Cry series is the design for the girls and the women. Like, damn, good stuff.
んなことないっすよ。男は中身も伴わなくっちゃ。
そうや。バトラ君は分かっとる。男は中身で勝負なんや。常に己の鍛錬を忘れたらあかん。そして虎視眈々とチャンスを待ってドカンと開花させるんや。わしもまさか今日会社社長なんて一国一城の主になれるとは思わんかった。そうや。あの無一文の焼け野原がわしの原点なんや。
The stout, plump old guy is George Aniki's dad, Uncle Hideyoshi. He's the husband of Dad's older sister. In other words, we're not blood related. Okay. He's nice to children, sociable all the time, and even quick to give out some spending money to us kids. Nice! What dialect does he have? I need to listen to closer. Simply put, he's an awesome uncle. Because he gives me money. He speaks in an odd way and very noticeable Kansai dialect, but he's actually a natural-born Kanto man. Huh. Apparently impressions are everything in the business world, so speaking in a different style than other people is an act that makes him stick out more. However, I hear he gets embarrassed when talking within earshot of a real Kansai person, so he switches back to standard Japanese. I don't really get it, but he's definitely an interesting person.
すぐ自分の自慢話に入っちゃうのがたまに傷なのよね。およしなさいな。バトラ君、耳にタコができちゃってるんだから。ねえ。
I really like Eva's voice a lot.
そんなことねえっすよ。でもいいじゃないっすか。語れる武勇伝があるってのは男としてかっこいいことだと思いますよ。俺なんか語るような話は何もないっすからね。
あらそうバトラ君なんかそのルックスでいっぱい女の子を泣かせてそうだからさぞかし武勇伝が多そうだと思ったんだけど。
うわあだだだだだ情報弾じゃないっすよ。そんな妙な武勇伝あるわけないじゃない。むしろ紹介してほしいくらいっす。
あら、あるんでしょ武勇伝。おばさんにも後で教えてね。
Help me, I'm really liking Eva so far.
そういう浮ついた話が全然ないんだから。
I need to look up who her voice actress is later. I really like her. This is George Aniki's mother, Aunt Eva. She's my dad's older sister. She and Uncle Hideyoshi are a pair of jokesters, and they've always teased me. Back as far as I can remember, I love this couple already. The best sort of combo. This sometimes made them a bit hard to get along with when I was small. Well, I guess the events of the last 3 seconds prove that they can still be hard to get along with. Even so, George Aniki's family is interesting and fun, and they seem to get along just fine. She's just pretty much the total opposite of my family.
バトラ君
Ooh!
ルドルフさんを見なかった
Hello!
さっきお手洗いに行くのを見ましたけど、まだ出てこないんすか。こりゃぽっくりいっちまったかな。ナムナムナムナム。
Nom 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 nom.
自分のお父さんにそんな言い方はないでしょ。まあ、あの人のお手洗いが長いのは今に始まったことじゃないしね。
Oh god.
ああ、アンニャルは昔っからそうです。雑誌持ってトイレに入るのやめてほしいんすよね。
Battler. Details.
何の雑誌持ち込んで何をしてんだか。
あら、そんな心配は全然不要よ。私と一緒にいる以上、そんなこと一人でさせやしないもの。
Oh my god. Jesus.
なんの話か。後でじっくり聞きたいっすね。
No, no you don't.
親父玉まで握られてグロでも出ないわ。
Oh my god. Sounds like Dad's got his balls in an iron grip.
握っとかないとどういうことになるか、よーくわかってるでしょ。
Bruh.
いやいや、まったく。あのクソ親父の手綱はキリエさんにしか無理っすよ。実の息子の俺も喜んで譲っちゃいますわ。
ええ、任せてちょうだい。そういうの得意なのよ。
This woman is my father's wife. Yes, I noticed. Her name is Ushiromiya Kirie. As you can probably tell from our conversation, she's not my real mother. Oh, okay. She's basically my stepmother. My real mom died 6 years ago. Oh. And Kirie's-san is the woman Dad married afterwards. It's understandable for someone my age. I could never bring myself to call his new wife Mom. Aww. And I doubt she feels like using the word son on this massive kid who's no relation to her at all. We aren't little kids. We know there's nothing to be gained by fighting. So we decided that we wouldn't force ourselves to pretend that we were family. I've decided to act a bit more frank with her, acting as though she's a friendly neighbor instead. That kinda sucks though. You've known her since you were 6! That's sad. It's much easier if you just keep a little distance instead of forcing ourselves to act all close and making each other uncomfortable. Okay, I can respect that. Kirie-san has always been very open about all this, and thanks to that, we've been able to get along pretty well. Okay, that's nice. That didn't sound like distance. Yeah, no, it didn't. Who has his stepmom to be like about like their intimate activities? Then just when we were bath-mouthing Dad about being in the bathroom, the man himself came back, wiping his hands with a handkerchief. Good, wash your hands. Oh no. Ushiromiya Rudolph. Batora?
なんだよ、親父。
What did you do?
耳つねんな、耳。
また母さんと俺の悪口を言ってたろう。なんでお前には父親に対する尊敬の念ってやつがわかねえんだ。
いででででででででででで。
Rest in heck.
クソ親父。俺の耳伸ばしたって空は飛べねえぞい。
ほれほれ。立て横。
Oh my god, up, down, left, left, right, left.
どんどんさらに2倍。お父様。
Now say
失礼なこと言ってごめんなさい。って言ってみろ。
What the hell?
冗談じゃねえぜ。そういうのは会員制のお店でやりやがれってんだ。だから話せって。
The timing of the dialogue is great. This old bastard is my dad. I think I'm pretty tall myself, but Dad's just about as tall as I am. It's no surprise Aunt Eva started talking about Dad's blood when she saw my height. By the way, my height isn't the only thing I got from him. It seems having weird names runs in the family. Dad's full name is written... You can't read it, can you? Yeah. I can't. Come on, it just... That doesn't help me, man! Anyway, this guy's name is pronounced Rudolph. Rudolph. Haha, he must hate grandfather for giving him that name. It's a very German name. Still, that's no reason to pass that weird naming tradition on to me. As the old bastard twisted my ear all over the place, Aunt Eva snuck up behind him and grabbed his ear. Oh my god, ear chain.
こらこらルドルフ。
Rudolf der Gute. Yes.
息子に乱暴してるんじゃないわよ。
言ってよ、姉貴。
The scene perfectly illustrated the relationship between the prankster younger brother and the older sister who could deal out punishment to him despite his size.
エヴァ姉さん、そのくらいにしてあげてください。同じ分、後で反対の耳を私が引っ張って伸ばしておきますので。
Oh my god.
あら、ごめんなさいね。キリエさんの引っ張る分も残しておかなくっちゃ。
Like balls pulling?
ルドルフ、後でたっぷりキリエさんにお仕置きしてもらいなさいね。
Oh my god, is he a sub?
たく、姉貴こそ弟いじめもいいとこだぜ。秀吉兄さんもこんな姉貴を拾ってくれて本当にありがとうございます。兄さんの寛大さがなかったら今でもまだ売れ残ってますよ。
Wow.
弟として申し訳ないです。
誰が売れ残るって？
After taking 3 steps back, Aunt Eva unleashed one of her beautiful high reverse roundhouse kicks, which stopped just a centimeter away from the tip of Dad's nose. Jeez. After starting out with Tai Chi Chuan, or is it Tai Chi Huan? For her figure, Aunt Eva then developed an interest in the Chinese martial arts. After that, she went through karate, taekwondo, capoeira. I love her. And what is it she's learning now again? Well, anyway, they say a woman's weapons are in her lower body. Then that's literally true for Eva.
ルドルフ。
I love Eva. I'm in the Eva fan club.
一発で混沌するわよ。この間演舞でミスって相方泡吹いちゃったんだからね。
いやいや、足癖の悪い姉貴で本当に申し
Eva
訳
is 10
ない
out
で
of
す。
10 so far. I agree. Oh, I forgot to read that part. Sorry.
わしには兄弟がおらん。だからエヴァとルドルフ君のじゃれ合いを見とると胸がポカポカしてくるんや。兄弟や家族はほんまにええもんやな。
あら、ジョージ君に弟を作ってあげるという話はないんですか？もうジョージ君も立派な大人になって手も離れたでしょうから、次の子がいてもいいでしょうに。
Just make another child.
おいおい、キリエ。生まれてくる子の苦労も考えてやれよ。よくこの性悪姉貴から生まれて、ジョージ君はあんなにもまっすぐ育ってくれたもんさ。
Come on, don't be rude.
本当にジョージ君は偉いな。うちのボンクラに今度爪の赤を分けてやってくれよ。
そんなことないわよ。エヴァ姉さんの教育が間違ってなかったから、ジョージ君はあんなに素直ないい子になったんだから。ですよね、姉さん。
あらあら、そんな。うちのジョージもまだまだ頼りなくって。そうそう。それよりお宅のエンジェちゃんはどんな具合なの？吐いちゃったって聞いたけど。
Oh no!
そうやそうや。久しぶりに顔が見れると思って期待してたんやで。大丈夫なんか？
いつも季節の変わり目に風邪をひくんです。
Oh, relatable.
どうも弱くって、本当は連れてきたかったんですけど、今回は私の実家に面倒見てもらっています。
それが賢明よ。本家の毒気に当てない方が治りは早いもの。
Oh, jeez.
大人の都合より子供の病気の方が大事よ。
わしな、吐く風邪によう効く薬知っとんや。帰ったらすぐ送るさかい。使うてくれや。
Oh, my cat
あ
is
り
here
がとう
now.
ございます、秀吉兄さん。いつもお世話になりっぱなしで。
Stinky? No! What you doing? And once the conversation suddenly veered off in that direction, we kids didn't have any chance of putting in. For now, I'm just happy Aunt Eva gave Dad his just desserts for tugging on my ear.
まだ天候調査中がなくならないね。
George, Aniki pointed at the counter. The checking weather sign was still stuck next to the departure times for the flight we were scheduled to board. According to Aniki, smaller planes are more subject to winds and other effects of the weather. And it's not at all uncommon for flights to be delayed because of that. Oh. My cat is trying to catch a fly right now. Wait a sec. We are totally sure it's not gonna shake, right? From down here on the ground, it just looks cloudy, not windy. Well, I guess it's different up where the planes fly. I guess.
天気が怪しいものね。
Eva looked at a TV in the lounge. The weather forecast was being broadcasted, informing us that a typhoon was approaching the Kanto region.
また台風か。
Sounds rough.
親族会議が毎年10月ってんじゃ。これはもうちょい時期を選んでくれりゃいいのによ。
どうかね。私もお盆の時期にやってくれればっていっつも思うわよ。ならルドルフ、それ今回の会議でお父様と兄さんに提案してみればいいじゃない。
冗談。姉貴が言えよ。俺が何を言っても兄貴は聞かねえよ。
いやよ。私は別に10月でも困らないもの。ルドルフが台風が嫌だからって言うから提案で言っただけよ。
俺は台風が来るのはいつものことだなって言っただけだろ。お盆の時期がいいって言い出したのは姉貴だぜ。
I kind of have a feeling this is gonna be relevant later.
去年ルドルフも言ったわよ。お盆の時期なら仕事のスケジュールとも合わせやすいのにって。
言ってねえだろ、そんなことよ。
言ったわよ。私、そういうのは絶対忘れないもん。
Never doubt Eva.
いや、言ってねえよ。言ってんのはいつも姉貴だよ。
知ってる？寸止めって高等技術なのよ。
Is she gonna kick him again?
いい年した女がはしたないことばっかしてんじゃねえぜ。
Rudolph, please. Don't say that. Dad and Aunt's Eva argument looked no different from a couple of brats quarreling. Yeah, I agree.
普段は父親や母親として振る舞っていても、こうして親族会議で元の兄弟に出会うと、子供の頃の自分に戻っちゃうからだろうね。
と、冷静に分析できるジョージ兄貴の方がずっと大人に見えるぜ。俺は将来あんなクソ親父みたいにはなりたくないに。なるなら兄貴みたいな知的な大人になりたいもんだぜ。
An intellectual adult?
僕かい？僕なんかまだまださ。社会経験が全然足りないし、社交性も度胸も足りない。バトラ君にはそれらのいくつかがすでにあるように思うよ。だからきっと成人したら僕なんかすぐに追い抜いちゃうさ。
George Aniki scratched his head and laughed, as though trying to hide his embarrassment. Of course, he was just being humble. Aniki entered an university and became an apprentice at Uncle Hideyoshi's company at the same time, studying both academics and how to become a business emperor in parallel. Then right after graduating, he got into Uncle Hideyoshi's company as his father's aide, piling up a lot of real-life experience as he devoted himself zealously to his work. His great dream is to one day stand on his own and build up his own kingdom. Respectable. Aniki is a real paragon of a man, sparing no effort as he strives towards his goal. It's no exaggeration to say that I really respect him. Yeah, I would too. And then there's me. And I'm nothing at all like Aniki. I'm living my happy-go-lucky idle high school life to the max. He's still in high school. I've got no dreams or the future. That sucks. I'd like to just sit back, stay cool, and let the money flow in, but of course that could never happen. That's so deeply relatable. When Aniki was my age, she already formed an impressive objective and had started devoting himself towards studying for that goal, so I guess I can compare it all. My dad just says, sure, you can study at my company if you like the cleaning toilets. Damn it, I'm not gonna be in the debt of that old bastard. I'll find my way myself. If only willpower was all it took to become an adult. Yeah. Should I go on one of those self-searching journeys that are all the rage these days? Yeah. Well, it's not like I could mooch off my parents for that kind of money. I wish it could be so easy. Yeah, same. Right then, Uncle Hideyoshi shouted out loudly. He's a really nice person on the whole, but he does have a problem controlling the volume of his voice. I feel that very much. When I looked over, I saw that he was greeting Aunt Rosa, who had come late. Oh god. I remember who Rosa is. I don't like her.
ローザさんやないか。マリアちゃん、久しぶりやの。
But Mari I do like. I remember liking her.
久しぶり。
She's so cute! Look at her crown!
マリア、お久しぶりです。でしょ？言ってごらん。
I hate Rosa. Yeah, same. When I watched those first 4 episodes, I was like, I hate her.
お久しぶりです。
そうや。よく言えたな。ご褒美に飴玉あげような。おっと、あれ？どこにしまったんや。
ローザさん、お久しぶりです。マ
No.
リアちゃんもお久しぶり。
Yes, good to see Maria again. Not good to see
ご無
Rosa
沙汰し
again.
てます、キリエ姉さん、秀吉兄さん。あら、バトラ君？大きくなったわね。
いやー今日は会うたびに言われてて恥ずかしいっすよ。
Didn't you want to be
Oh,
bragging about
Rosa.
your height though?
遅かったな。飛行機がダイヤ通りだったらギリギリってとこだったぜ。
ごめんなさい。列車の接続がうまくいかなくて。なに？また天候調査中なの？
ぼやかないぼやかない。船で6時間も揺られるくらいなら飛行機でほんの30分の方がずっとマシよ。たとえ1時間余計に待たされたって全然早いんだから。
マリアちゃんも大きくなったで。
Yes, please
今
compliment
身
Maria.
長いくつあるんや？
身長いくつあるんや。
Maria-chan parroted Uncle Hideyoshi's question, looking up at her mother. I guess she doesn't remember her own height. Oh, she's probably right in the middle of a growth spurt, so her height must change every month. Give it a few more years and she'll suddenly start looking more feminine.
この間の身体測定でいくつって出たっけ？これでも少しずつは伸びてるんですよ。ねえ。
You don't remember?
去年よりもずっと成長したと思いますよ。
I think she's grown a lot since last year, huh?
今年で9歳でしたっけ？
She's 9.
9歳。
She's so cute.
そうだね。
Help.
9歳だね。マリアちゃんも元気そうでよかった。よいしょ。もう高い高いをするにはちょっと重くなってきたかな。
うわ、ジョージ兄貴、そりゃレディーに失礼だろ。
Try to play airplane with her.
俺がやってやるぜ。高い高い。
When I went to lift her up in Aniki's place, Maria stiffened defensively, staring suspiciously at my face. And that's right. The last time I met Maria, it was 6 years ago, and she was only 3 years old. Oh, of course she doesn't remember my face.
マリアちゃん、覚えてる？バトラ君よ。一緒に遊んでもらったの忘れちゃった？
無理だろ。最後にバトラと会ったのは3つの時だぜ。3つの時の記憶なんか残ってねえよ。
She must know everyone's face apart from mine because she meets them every year, but I haven't had contact with the Ushiromiya family for about 6 years now. So it's no surprise that this 9-year-old girl doesn't have any memories of me. Even I can only just barely remember her being a 3-year-old crybaby. Wow, that's nice.
バトラお兄ちゃんよ。ルドルフおじさんの息子さん。わかる？兄さんの息子さんが、兄さんが息子さん。
She's trying. The ooh sound was probably her brain going into overload at that complicated explanation. I guess the phrasing of that was a bit confusing. Ni or ni, the title you'd use to refer to an actual older brother, can also be a friendly honorific for a boy who's only a bit older than you. It's just like ne or ne, the word for big sister.
マリアちゃん、彼はバトラー君。僕と同じいとこだよ。
庄司お兄ちゃんと同じ？
ドッドッドッドッド。
バトラ？いとこ。
Hi there, glad to catch you online. How are you? I'm okay. I'm reading Umineko, doing something more chill today. At least before the murder kicks in. Gotta be a real chat to name your son Battler, not gonna lie. Yeah, agree.
そう。よくできたね。
This part of Aniki is what makes me really look up to him. For someone who isn't married, he's just great at dealing with kids. Oh man, I'm sure he'll be an indulgent father in the future.
バトラお兄ちゃん？
Maria looked straight at me with a questioning expression as though asking whether it was okay to call me that.
おうや、俺がバトラーだ。よろしくな、マリア。
Woo!
こらマリア、呼びつけちゃダメでしょ。バトラお兄ちゃんと呼びなさい。
Let her be! She's being cute!
いいっすよ、ローザおばさん。細かいことは気にしないっすから。
俺はバトラー Yes!
まあマリア、俺とお前は名前を呼びつけ合う仲だもんな。
バトラバトラバトラ。
おや、マリアマリアマリア。
Oh my god, that's so cute! We horsed around for a while to make up for the 6-year gap in our friendship. She probably still thinks of me as nothing more than a big new friend, but things will probably work out as we get to know each other again. But I'm surprised. She's just the way I remember her being 6 years ago. Seems that people just don't change that much after all. I'm a bit happy that she's still the pure innocent girl I remember. Her name is written... Of course, is pronounced Maria. The third character looks like a cross, which is pretty cool. Her feelings don't usually show up on her face, so it can be difficult to know just what she's thinking. But that's just how she looks on the outside. On the inside, she's just a sweet, normal girl. She's very cute. And there's Maria's mother, Aunt Rosa. She's a bitch. She's my dad's younger sister. Rosa is written... Here's a name that's totally not Japanese. Sorry to say it, but her name's almost as ridiculous as Dad's. Rosa is fine as a name. I've got to respect her for not ending up as screwed up as he is. Do I have news for you? When I think about it, all the names in my family sound foreign. Just why is grandfather so obsessed with that? Because of him, even when grandchildren have to put up with this weird naming sense. It's even more annoying since grandfather's own name is perfectly normal. Anyway, there's one thing about Aunt Rosa that's a relief compared to the other family members. The old bastard and Aunt Eva have this annoying urge to tease and mock people all the time. But even though she shares their blood, Aunt Rosa isn't like that at all. Are you sure about that? She has the most common sense among all the siblings. Like Uncle Hideyoshi, she's a kind aunt who always be on their kid's side. I'm not impressed because I distinctly remember how Rosa was in those first 4 episodes, and however, possibly because she's more strict as a parent, she's not liberal with handing out spending money like Uncle Hideyoshi. Okay, now we have the entire group of family members who are going to board the plane. At that moment, as though it had waited for us all to arrive, an announcement rang out through the lobby.
新島行き201便の搭乗をこれより開始いたします。ご搭乗のお客様はカウンター前の白線前に2列でお並びください。
ローザ、搭乗手続きまだだろ。急げ急げ。
いけない。マリア、いらっしゃい。
We have to go through a metal detector before going out on the runaway. Our small plane wasn't as massive as an international flight, but it was still a plane. A staff member holding a metal detector checked us all. There's Knuckles, I mean, the airplane. Once all of us cleared the check, we followed the staff member out into the runaway. Come to think of it, everyone here is in the Ushiromiya family. You don't say. It's like this is a reserved child of light or something. That's because it kinda is, I think. Our group stopped in front of the entrance to the airplane. Then our guy turned around and spoke, looking down at the passengers list as he
それ
did.
ではこれよりご搭乗となります。名簿をお読み上げいたしますので、前方の座席、右側から順に右左、次の列の右左と詰めてお座りになってください。
I wonder if they will name a name that is
それ
not
では
on
お
the
読み上
list.
げいたします。後宮秀吉様。
わしからか？
Yes.
はい。そうだ、エヴァ。飴玉あるか？さっきから探してるんだが見つからないんや。
後宮エヴァ様。
ハンドバッグの中よ。機内に入ったら出すわ。
I heard that candies are a good way to protect your ears from hurting because of variations in atmospheric pressure when landing or taking off. Yeah, I know that. It's painful sometimes. That's probably what you're talking about.
俺の席窓際だといいな。
大丈夫だよ。窓際席しかないもん。
We are totally sure it's not gonna shake, right?
はい。大丈夫だよ、バトラ君。あんまり揺れないから。
後宮バトラ様。
バトラ様？
あんまりってどのくらいだよ。船から落ちても泳げるからいいが、飛行機が落ちたらそれでおしまいなんだぜ。もちろん客席にはパラシュートがあるんだろ。ねえの？
後宮ルドルフ様。
ほらバトラ、感動してねえでとっとと奥行け。
Get in the plane, Battler!
言って親父。おさってパラシュートがねえんだよ。
後宮桐江様。
ほら仲良くじゃれてないの。進む進む。
言ってよキリエ。押すなって。ボンクラが進まねえんだよ。
後宮マリア様。
イエーイ！
後宮ローザ様。
こらマリア、静かにしなさい。
こちらは機長の川端です。本日は新東京航空201便をご利用いただき誠にありがとうございます。新島空港までは約20分のフライトの予定です。上空の気流が乱れているとの報告が入っています。
Okay.
多少の揺れがあるかもしれませんので、離陸後もシートベルトは外さないようにお願いいたします。
兄貴？シートベルト外しちゃいけない揺れってなんだよ。
You always have to wear seatbelts, Battler.
じゃあ僕なら離陸後はシートベルト外せるぜ。それが外しちゃいけないってどんな揺れだよ。くそー、騙された。何が揺れないだ。パラシュートはどこだよ。やっぱり俺は船が良かった。
Damn, Battler. Poor guy. Oh, now we get the title card? Okay, so I have to click. Ushirimiya George, Ushirimiya Jessica, Ushirimiya Maria. Never mind, I can click after all. This is apparently cinematic. The plane is going! Whee! I bet the plane is called Golden Witch. I wish. So all this was just a prologue for this chapter. Which is all things I don't remember seeing in the anime. Whee! Oh, did I make it already? Rondo of the Witch and Reasoning. I think this was just the title of the PS3 port. Well, it was very long. Yes, Umineko has 100+ of reading hours in it for all the episodes. I don't know how long each episode is. We'll have to see. I think it wouldn't fit into an anime. Yeah, it wouldn't. They did like the first half, so like the question arcs in the anime, and it was Studio Dean that did it, and it kind of sucked. At least I watched the first 4 episodes and I was like, this doesn't look like the authentic Umineko experience, so I decided to read the novel or the manga.
Maria, もういい加減になさい。
Let her be!
でも意外ね。バトラ君、てっきり怖いものなしだと思ってたから。
こいつ昔から乗り物がなぜかダメでさ。二言目には落ちるだの沈むだの。情けない男だな、おめえは。
Let him be! Oh my god, he's dying.
ありゃ、さすがに揺れすぎだろう。小型機乗るのは初めてだったから、ちょいと答えちまっただけだぜ。
あの大騒ぎでちょいとなの？バトラ君とは海外旅行を一緒に行くと賑やかそうね。おばさんとエジプトとか行かない？
Damn.
14時間も飛行機に乗れるわよ。
いい提案ね。
I think Battler will pass out.
エヴァ姉さんに少し鍛えてもらいなさいよ。それにしてもおかしい。
こらこら、人間誰しも得て増えてはあるもんや。そない笑うたら悪いで。
父さんも笑うのは悪いよ。ほら、マリアちゃんももう笑っちゃダメ。
もう笑っちゃダメ？
I can't handle Maria, she's so cute. Is being scared of planes really such a big deal? I don't know. Everyone obviously think I'm a big oaf now. Car. The duality of mankind. And I'd abandoned Maria right away. No! She's too cute. We split up and took separate taxis from the airport to the harbor. From there on, we would be taking a boat to the island. The islands are next to each other, so the distance of the trip wasn't that great. By boat, it was leisurely 30 minutes to the island. Then we reached a pier where the boat to the island was anchored. We saw a figure waving at us. Whomst. Jessica!
お久しぶりだぜ。
やあ、ジェシカちゃん、1年ぶりだね。また伸びたんじゃないかい？
よしてくれよ。毎年言われんのは恥ずかしいぜ。
おいおい、兄貴、嘘だろ？こいつが本当にジェシカなのかよ？
Yes.
ってことは、ジョージ兄さん、このデカブツ、バトラなのかよ。
We both stared at each other. She definitely didn't look like that in my memories, but I do remember her crazy way of talking.
いや、ジェシカ！なんだよ、お前！嘘だろ？なに女みたいな格好してんだよ！なんだよ、これ胸かよ！お前にも胸なんかできたのかよ！
Oh my god, toss him into the water.
揉ませろ、揉ませろ！
No, no, stop.
ふざけやがれ！私は花も恥じらう18だぜ。髪だって伸びりゃ出るとこだって出るぜ。
Two airheads collide.
てめえに揉ませる胸なんざあるもんかい。
Yes.
バートラこそなんだよ。
Call him a
バカ
loser.
みたいに図体だけでかくなりやがって。知った腕力ついたのか？
ざけんじゃねえ！あれからどれだけ鍛錬積んだか思い知らせてやんぜ！
うぜえぜ。
Need to drink some.
返り討ちだ。
This headstrong girl's name is... She was born under the same unlucky star as me, sharing the same kind of weird name. But Jessica is a normal name! Is it because it's written in kanji? Anyway, Jessica is pronounced Jessica. She's Dad's older brother's daughter. The older brother happened to be the oldest son of the Yoshiromiya family, so for now it means Jessica is a direct family heir. Let's go! Since Jessica and I are the same age and sometimes had little boy-girl squabbles with each other, we've always been used to fighting and joking around together whenever the relatives gather. Jessica grew more quickly, so she always had me beat in terms of size and physical strength. When we scuffled in a contest of strength, it usually went to Jessica's way, so she just destroyed Battler. So even though I realized I'd grown bigger, part of my mind was still convinced that I couldn't beat Jessica. You probably can't. Jessica high speed core.
おいおいおい、全然力入れてねえぜ。ジェシカ、お前貧弱になっただろ。
うるせえぜ。こちとら女やってんだ。いつまでも腕力で男に勝てるわけねえだろ。
No, that's not true.
まあ、そりゃそうだよな。俺が腕につけた分の肉をお前は胸につけたんだもんな。
Oh my god,
俺の腕とお前の胸ならちょうどいい力比べになりそうじゃねえのか。
Oh my god, Battler, you are
だから
cringe.
お前に揉ませる父はねえ。それよりお前こそどうなんだよ。身長以外にも他のところちゃんと。
バカやめろ。いやん、この野郎お嫁に行けなくなる。変なとこ触んないで。
Oh my god.
人様が聞いて誤解すること言うんじゃねえ。
Take a room. Maybe not. They're siblings. Don't. So honestly, I was so surprising at how feminine Jessica had become that I had to joke around like an idiot to hide it. While considering what a bossy brat she was 6 years ago, anyone would be surprised. And I guess she's just as surprised. She probably wasn't expecting to lose to me in a test of strength. After losing that easily, she must be shocked at how much I've grown in the past 6 years. 6 years. Once again, I'm being shown just a huge gap of time that was.
やれやれ。乾杯だぜ。
Damn.
こりゃもう私じゃかなわねえな。
Time to build up those muscles, Jessica.
そんなことないよ。
There's still time.
バトラ君にもきっと弱点はあるよ。ね、マリアちゃん。
Yes, destroy him, Maria.
落ちる落ちる。
Shh, cut it out, Maria. Let's keep that a secret, okay?
落ちる？なんだそりゃ。
あいにくだが、この弱点はジェシカにはもうさらさないぜ。何しろ悪夢の空路はもう終わっちまったんだからな。
Oh, so you just told her.
あとはのんびりチャボチャボと。あのオンボロ漁船がこれほど恋しくなるとは思わなかったぜ。
ギヒヒヒ。
ああ？ジョージ兄さん、こいつ頭どうかしたのか？
Yes.
すぐにわかるよ。すぐにね。
At the time, I didn't get what Aniki meant with that big smile.
これはこれは。はあ、バトラさんも大きくなりまして。
We got some old ladies! Let's go! Who's it this time? It's an old lady with an apron. Yeah. Oh yeah, that takes me back. I remember now.
バトラ君、覚えてるかい？ほら、お手伝いの熊沢さんだよ。
熊沢のばあちゃんは忘れねえぜ。何しろこの6年ちっとも老けちゃいねえぜ。むしろ若返ったんじゃねえの？
I love her laugh. It's so similar to mine.
最近はお肌がピチピチしてきちゃって、ほら、胸もますますに大きくなっちゃいましたんですよ。
That's gonna be me as an old lady.
ご冗談。俺が揉みたいのはピチピチした姉ちゃんの胸限定だぜ。
Two bouncy girls.
私とて若い日にはそれはピチピチしておりましたよ。ほらほら、ぜひどうぞお揉みくださいませ。
ひょー、勘弁してくれよ。若い姉ちゃんだ、若い姉ちゃん。熊沢のばあちゃんじゃねえよ。
The jokes I cracked about Jessica were being turned against me, as they should. Come to think of it, Kumazawa has always been the type to tease people.
おいおいよせよ熊沢さん。
That's a good grandma.
監獄に半分足突っ込んだ人がはしゃいじゃいけねえぜ。
Damn, that's a powerful statement. People with one foot in the coffin shouldn't jump around.
若い方とじゃれるのが何よりの若返りの薬ですよ。
I really like her laugh. It's so good.
熊沢さんが迎えに来るなんて珍しいじゃない。どういう風の吹き回しかしら。用事を頼まれるといつも腰痛になるあなたが。
Your lumbago kicks in whenever someone gives you a job to do. What's a lumbago?
エヴァ様は相変わらず手厳しゅうございます。急なお買い物がありましたもので、そのついでに皆様のお迎えをしようと思いまして。
I have to go sleep. I'll try to catch the rest of the VOD. Have fun. Sorry I can't say more. I'm so tired. That's okay. Go sleep. Have a nice rest.
お迎え待ちの老いぼれの
I'll
お
have the
迎え
VOD
では
uploaded
景気も
sometime
悪いでしょう
this
が。
weekend. Good night. Thanks for coming. Oh my god. Aunt Eva spoke sarcastically, but Kumasawa Bachan's year of experience were nothing to sneeze at. She was more than capable of smoothly and coolly deflecting that comment. Well, it feels bad to say it, but old Kumasawa Bachan may be past her prime as a servant. She might act as though she's in good health, but between the headaches and her lumbago, her body is wearing out. What is a lumbago? To tell the truth, the fact that she's still working is impressive. How old is she this year again? She must be pushing 80 at least. Damn! It's incredible that she's still able to act so cheerily.
ますますにお元気なようで。
You laughed and sing. I didn't even notice.
そうだこれ。
Oh boy.
前に話してたお茶です。
Lumbago is something related to the back. Oh, okay. So back problems, probably.
ほら、買ってきました。後で飲んでみてください。
Aunt Rosa took a souvenir bag out from her suitcase. To think that she remembered a promise that she apparently made last year and faithfully bought it. This sort of thoughtfulness was just like Aunt Rosa. She wasn't the kind of person who would forget or break a promise. Yeah, okay. Kumasawa Bachan seemed deeply touched, not only that Aunt Rosa had remembered this year or promise, but that she would bring a gift to a simple servant like her. This woman is Kumasawa Chiyo-san. Oh, okay. The katakana I can read. That's nice. She's a senior servant who's been working at the Ushiromiya family household for many years. As you'd expect from someone at her age, manual labor isn't her strong point, but she's kind of a super servant who can handle just about anything else, from kitchen work to cleaning and laundry. Super servant! It seems like her only flaw is tendency to slack off. I hear she tries to get away from heavy or troublesome work by playing up her chronic diseases. Sounds like shit I would do when I'm older. In Kumasawa Bachan's case, this was probably a sign of craftiness rather than laziness. Though it probably doesn't impress those paying her salary. Let her be! She is a good woman. Well, even if she's pretty flaky when it comes to work, I could never dislike her. Who could dislike her? Jeez. I guess that's probably because of her cheerfulness and her constant smile. I literally don't remember her in the anime, so it's really delightful to see her.
あれから背中の具合はどないでっか？
薬を飲んでもちっとも良くなりませんで、こればかりはお医者様ではどうにもなりません。不治の病っちゅうもんですわ。
それにしてもジェシカちゃんはますます美人になったな。夏日姉さんに似てよかったぜ。
そうですか？私的には全然似てないつもりなんですけど。つうか、親には似たくないです。尊敬してないんで。
Damn。
こら、そんなこと言っちゃダメよ。それにしても、親に似たくないって言ってる人が多いわね。うちの一族は。
あ、それ俺。
バカ言え。お前こそ俺に似るんじゃねえ。お前の鼻が似ててムカつくんだよ。
何言ってんのよ。呆れるくらいそっくりよ。あなたもお父様もね。
おいおい、そりゃねえだろ。俺のどこが親父に似てるってんだ？
Why is Zelda so complicated? I don't know.
傲慢で偉そうなところとかそっくりよ。あんたと兄さんは特にお父様の血が強いわね。ねえローザ？
まったく。クラウス兄さんもルドルフ兄さんも
クラウス
信じられないくらいお父様にそっくり。
Kraus Nissan. I'm sure it was meant to be Klaus. I find it interesting how a lot of them have very European and even German names. Like Rudolf, Klaus. I've been playing for 4 hours and my brain is in mush. Oh damn. I feel that with Zelda games. Der gute Rudolf is good with the ladies, I see.
相変わらずモテモテでお羨ましいことです。それでは皆様、お船の方へお乗りくださいませ。さあさあ、マリアさん、一緒にお船に乗りましょうね。一緒にお船に乗る。みんなも一緒に乗る。
おや、もう今度は怖くないぜ。波で揺れるのは慣れてるしな。オンボロ漁船の場合、揺れて怖いってよりエンジンがぶっ壊れて漂流するんじゃねえかって方が怖いぜ。
そうだ、バトラ君、言うのを忘れてた。あの漁船はだいぶ老朽化してたんで数年前に引退したんだよ。今は他の船が島まで運んでくれるんだ。
ああ、そっか。バトラは新しい船が初めてなんだな。快適だぜ。すっげえ速いんだ。
A fast boat?
何しろとんでもないスピードが出るんだからさ。
A boat that goes zoom?
ってことは船旅の時間がさらに短縮されたわけか。
And probably more shaky.
何しろ飛行機よりマシとはいえ沈没の危険にさらされる時間が少しでも短くなるってんだから、こりゃ極めて素晴らしいぜ。
バトラはまた落ちる。
そりゃ飛行機の時だけさ。もう大丈夫だぜ。
In before Battler falls into the water.
何しろ船長自慢の改造高速艇らしいぜ。だいぶいじってるらしく、プロペラは高性能のが4機もついてて最高速度は40ノットを超えるとかなんとか自慢してたな。いつも自慢されるんで覚えちまったぜ。
僕も毎年聞かされるんで覚えちゃったよ。船長は昔外国の漁船と速度比べをして負けて以来、スピード改造に取りつかれちゃったんだってさ。その時の相手は漁船なのに30ノット以上も出せたんだってね。
30 knots with just a fishing boat. Damn.
その雪辱の念が結実してスカッと爽快な超高速改造艇の誕生となったわけさ。
The boat is even modded. That's
バトラもきっ
nice.
と気に入るぜ。
Super high speed modded boat? My first thought was that this would be much better than some beat up boat that might sink at any moment. But for some reason I got this feeling of foreboding. Probably just overthinking it. Is he gonna be dizzy again? He is dying, I think.
おいバトラー、島までは泳いで行った方がいいんじゃねえか。
バトラ君、柵からあんまり身を乗り出しちゃダメだよ。落ちちゃうから。
落ちる。
チェックしろー。さっきからみんながニヤニヤ笑ってたのはこれだったのか。
So this is the super high speed boat that the captain started modding. Oh yes, that piece of junk fishing boat from 6 years ago doesn't hold a candle to this guy. Thanks for reading, I can see the subtitles. Oh, I'm just reading the parts that aren't voiced, so I hope it's okay. Rest in pieces, our battler. I love how Maria. I love how Maria is amusing herself.
Jessica ちゃんもマリアちゃんもいじめちゃ悪いって。 バトラ君も怖いなら甲板に出なきゃいいのに。船内ならもう少し怖くないと思うけどな。
そいつはサンキューだぜ兄貴。海難事故の犠牲者はいつも船内なんだ。生存者は大抵事故時は甲板なんだぜ。
George being like, inside the boat, and he's like, what, to die? No!
だから俺はここにいる。でも揺れる、落ちる、ふふふ
揺れる、落ちる、
マリア、よしなさいったら。でもバトラ君、本当に苦手なのね。船長さんに速度を落とすように言ってきてあげるわ。
ローザおばさんありがとう。海の上でも安全運転、徐行運転、指差し確認。
Wait, give me a second.
ダメよローザ。ねえバトラ君、これくらいへっちゃらで克服できちゃうわよね。じゃないとおばさんとエジプトに行けないわよ。
うわー、エヴァおばさんの意地悪。ダメ、落ちる。ライフジャケット、パラシュート。ふ
Oh my god.
いや、ひっくり返して考えるんだ。敵の狙いは何だ。俺をこうして怖がらせることか。そいつが狙いなら甘いぜ。ビビってなんかやるもんか。でもダメ、落ちる。
I don't think Battler is okay. So after I made a huge fool of myself for a while, yeah, Uncle Rosa had a talk with the boat captain and he slowed down to a more manageable speed for me.
これくらいならなんとか。さっきのは生きた心地がしなかったぜ。
Apparently the max speed I can tolerate is extremely slow, but that just now was completely insane. The whole boat was shaking, sliding and leaping on the ocean's surface. I feel like I was riding on the back of a flying fish. Jessica was still guffawing at me as I leaned against the railing, tired and disheartened.
さっきは力比べで負けたけどよ、もっと重要な部分で負けてなかったことが分かって私は嬉しいぜ。
Excuse me, Shine Stone person because of the chat. No, they're showing up just single.
いやしかし
くっそー、好きなだけ笑えよ。いつか弱点を見つけ返しててめえの胸揉みつぶしてやるぜ。
見つけられたら考えてやるぜ。
バトラヘロヘロ。
Battler, you're weak.
ああ、バトラーヒロヒロだ。海も空もごめんだぜ。俺は陸の上で死にたいさ。
I didn't read it again.
船長が罪滅ぼしにってドリンクをサービスしてくれたよ。飲んで一服しないかい？落ち着くよ。
George, Aniki, and Kumasawa Bachan brought us ice-cold cans of soft drinks covered with beads of water. For some reason, they are appearing twice for me. Maybe it's just on your end. In the preview, it's showing fine for me. Damn it, I'm so embarrassed I can't face any of them. If I didn't change the subject somehow, I had the feeling I'd be butt of everyone's jokes for the whole trip. So I tried to think of something harmless to talk about.
ああ、ジェシカ、クラウスおじさんと夏日おばさんは元気なのかよ。
親父とおふくろ？残念ながら元気だぜ。 二言目には勉強しろ勉強しろってうるせえけどよ。秀吉おじさんとかルドルフおじさんとかそういうこと言わなそうだから羨ましいぜ。
とんでもない。僕も受験を控えてた頃はいっつも受験受験って言われてたよ。うるさくも思ったけど今は感謝してるよ。
はあ、やっぱりジョージ兄貴は人間ができてるな。ちなみにうちは絶賛放任中だからな。なんにも言われないぜ。まあ言われたって聞かねえけどな。
ほう。バトラさんはまだご実家には戻られておられないのですか？
うん。まあちょくちょく戻るようには。まだ服とかだいぶ前の家に残してるんで。
お
お
バトラ、お家が2つある？
うん。
Wait, give me a second, I need to get something. There we go. I need some water.
まあな。
どうしてお家が2つ？
Only Maria, who couldn't really grasp the situation, voiced this naive question. However, the others just shot nervous glances at me. Sorry, choosing not to respond even though they knew the answer.
マヤ、ほら、船着き場が見えてきたぜ。ほら、あれ、見えるか？
船着き場見えた！船着き場見えた！
Ah well, I'd rather not talk about it if I can help it, but it's uncomfortable to have it treated like some kind of weird taboo. I don't mind that much myself anymore. I may be a member of the Shiromiya family, but the truth is that for the last 6 years I've been living with my grandparents on my late mother's side, and I've even been using her family name. When those grandparents passed away one after the other, I basically had no choice but to go back to live with the old bastard. Don't get me wrong, I didn't just run away from home or anything like that. The only one at fault here is my dad. I don't really blame Kirie-san. Being able to hold that old bastard's reins and ride him out is no mean feat. Still, the way that old bastard betrayed my mom, well, unfortunately I still haven't fully gotten over that. So, he cheated on his mom? George Aniki cleared his throat trying to change the subject.
失礼しました。年寄りが余計なことを言ってしまったようで、お気に障りましたら。
気にもしてないし、触ってもないぜ。気にすんなよ、熊沢のばあちゃん。
After that, I had a sip of my drink and headed over to Maria and Jessica, who were gazing at the silhouette of the island.
島が見えた！島が見えた！あれ
どれどれ？おお、見えてきたな。6年ぶりでも記憶と寸分変わらない島影だぜ。
Small island silhouette in front of us had gotten pretty close. The island's name is Rokenjima. It's a small island about 10 kilometers around, located in the Izu archipelago. 10 kilometers is pretty small. Since they call this archipelago the Izu 7, lots of people think there are only 7 islands, but that's not true. There's actually several more, and Rokenjima is one of the minor islands that don't get counted. Even if it weren't the case, I doubt you'd find many people who knew about this island. Only people connected to the Shiromiya family ever go there. In other words, outsiders and tourists never had any reason to care about it. So you'll never find this island's name in a travel brochure. After all of Rokenjima is an estate possessed by the Shiromiya head family. Jesus, So just owning an entire island. Only the Ushiromiya family lives there, and only people connected to the Ushiromiya family come and go to from there. There's nothing there except a harbor and a mansion. The vast majority of the island is still just an uncultivated forest. Such a waste when it could be made into a nice golf course or something. However, when you realize that the entire coastline is a private beach, it starts to sound pretty magnificent. You've probably guessed by now, but to put it simply, well, the Ushiromiya family is just rolling in dough. The head family apparently possesses a vast fortune, and Dad and the others who make up the branch families have built up plenty of wealth for themselves, finding success in their respective businesses. So the family is pretty damn stinking rich. I've been living a commoner's life at my grandparents' home these 6 years, so I'd probably completely forgotten. But the old bastard's house really is elegant, and everything about it is tuned to match the snobbish taste of the annoyingly rich. So Battler is saying it's rich. Come to think of it, I guess that makes George, Aniki, Jessica, Maria, and me wealthy, high-class gentlemen and ladies. Needless to say, none of us think of ourselves that way. I don't see myself as being rich, and George, Aniki, who takes self-discipline very seriously, doesn't let himself get too comfortable. Jessica is always complaining that she'd rather move to the city than be rich, and Maria is still a kid who isn't even interested in money at all. Does that attitude really make us any less snobbish? From the perspective of people in poverty who can't pay the bills, really have been blessed with a lot. Yeah, this isn't the place to expand any further, so I won't. Anyway, it's the same as being able to choose the parents you're born from. I didn't ask to be born into a rich family, and I don't think it's really something to be envied. It can be pretty trying when people are prejudiced against you just because you're rich and refuse to judge you by your own merits. As I pondered these sentimental thoughts, Maria started shouting and leaned over the railing. Is it time?
No.
どうしたんだよ、マリア。何か落としちゃったのか？
Maria kept yelling, "Gone, gone." At first it sounded as though she had dropped something, but while she shouted, she also pointed over the ocean.
どうしたの？何がないんだい？僕も探してあげるよ。何？
If she dropped something, she would probably have looked at the floor, but Maria was pointing out over the ocean. One would assume by that gesture that she had spotted something, but she kept saying that something wasn't there. Strange. However, since my last memories of this place came from 6 years ago, I was able to spot it before Aniki, who came here every year.
確かさ、この辺の小さい岩の上に鳥居みたいなのがなかったっけ？
A bird?
そうだ、確かにあったぜ。島に近づいてくると最初に迎えてくれる目印みたいなもんだったからよく覚えてるぜ。
へえ、バトラすごいじゃね。6年ぶりなのによく覚えてるもんだぜ。
あったね。僕も思い出したよ。鎮守の社と鳥居みたいなものが岩の上にポツンと立ててあったよ。そういえばないね。去年は確かにあったと思う。
Oh no!
大方、波か何かでさらわれちまったんだろ。小さい岩だったしな。だいぶ風化で脆くなってたんだろうさ。
私もそうだと思ってるんだけどよ。亡くなっちゃったのはこの夏のことなんだよ。なんでもよ。
ある晩に大きな稲妻が落ちてお社を砕いてしまったんだとか。
Damn.
鎮守様に落雷があるなど、これは不吉の兆しに違いないと。
Oh no.
くわばらくわばら。
Kumazawa-san smiled impishly as if teasing us, rubbing her hands together while intoning a Japanese phrase meant to ward off lightning. However, Maria apparently took this seriously and stared fixedly over the ocean to where the crag housing the shrine god was supposed to be. I bet this is an ominous sign.
よせよ、熊沢さん。マリアはそういう冗談の通じない年頃なんだからさ。
大丈夫だよ、マリアちゃん。偶然だよ。何も怖いことなんか起きないよ。
George Aniki put a hand on Maria's shoulder to calm her down, but Maria's sharp-eyed expression didn't waver. Maria muttered that word over and over. Apparently repeating a single word over and over is a habit that Maria's had for a long time. However, since the word she was saying was literally an ill omen, it was a bit creepy.
おいおいマリア、そんなに何度も繰り返してたら本当に不吉がやってきちまうぜ。
I only just noticed now that Maria has a little fang. That's cute. I tapped Maria's other shoulder. Maria whipped her head around, stared into my face, and spoke unblinkingly. Oh damn.
来るってどこからさ。
I answered lightheartedly, trying to break the tension in the air. At that moment, Maria held up a finger, raised her arm high, and pointed up to the heavens. When I looked up, I saw that the sky was still just as cloudy, but it had grown a great deal more leaden than it had been that morning. That's right, they were saying that the typhoon was approaching. We had planned to spend one night on the island, but if the storm doesn't pass quickly, I won't be able to make it to school on Monday. Well, I guess it makes for a pretty good excuse to be absent. She apparently sensed some kind of misfortune in this cloudy sky. She's been muttering that non-stop for a while now. Girls at Maria's age tend to be very impressionable. She's just about that age that many girls start to get excited about sixth senses and whether they have any psychic potential and stuff. For all we know, this might be due to her childish sensitive nature.
大丈夫だよ、マリアちゃん。天気は今夜くらいには崩れるかもしれないけど、明日には良くなって綺麗な青空になってるよ。
綺麗な青空。
そう、明日になれば綺麗な青空になるよ。止まない雨はないし、晴れない雲だってない。
止まない雨、晴れない雲。
確かに台風が近づいてるけどよ、すぐに過ぎちまうって。大丈夫さ、マリア。
Oh, she doesn't look happy. Maria started yelling, ooh, ooh, yes. It looked as though she was having a tantrum because no one could understand what she was trying to say. What in the world is Maria trying to so desperately warn us about? Unable to understand that, we couldn't help but feel a vague sense of misfortune. I've heard that everyone can feel the supernatural, but that it weakens as you age. That might mean that Maria, the youngest one of us all, still possessed some kind of sense that the rest of us had all lost. Maybe she's the only one sensing the upcoming murders? I wonder if that sense is sending her a warning. Let's not go to the island! I feel we're gonna die! At that moment, Kumasawa quietly opened her mouth.
なんでもロッケン島はその昔。
熊沢さん、その話はなしにしようぜ。
Oh. Just as Kumasawa was about to tell some kind of story, Jessica sharply interrupted her. Probably something sinister. Jessica's tone was extremely firm for her. I wanted to push her further just out of simple curiosity, but judging by the look on Jessica's face, whatever Kumasawa-chan was likely to say would probably make Maria even more uneasy. If I did try to press her for the story, the odds were pretty good that it wouldn't be anything bright and cheery.
それは申し訳ございませんね。
Grandma, I want to know!
年寄りには答えますんで、ちょっと失礼させていただきます。
Gossipers have no reason to hang around after they've been told to stop chatting. When Kumasawa-san finally realized that she's overstepped her bounds, she went back inside the boat. Since he'd arrived in conversation, he completely failed to notice the complicated atmosphere that hung about the scene, so he refreshingly and wittingly set that atmosphere aside. Basically, couldn't read the room and just brightened the mood.
もう到着だそうやないか。おう、もうちょいやの。今日はのんびりスピードだから時間がかかってもうたわ。誰のせいやねん。
It was Battler's fault.
うわ、秀吉おじさんもう勘弁してくださいよ。
もっと言ってやってください。たく、バトラのせいで時間かかりすぎだぜ。
Thanks, Battler. Maria probably thought that everyone was refusing to listen to her. Aww. She hung her head, wearing a fretful expression. No! As she did, George Aniki crouched down to meet her eyes and spoke to her kindly.
マリアちゃん、何も怖くないよ。だって、僕たちが一緒だもの。一緒だと何も怖くないんだよ。言ってごらん。
一緒だと何も怖くない。
うん。一緒だと何も怖くない。
そうさ、ジョージの兄貴の言う通りだぜ。
George is good.
俺たちが一緒にいると、いつだって何だって絶対に怖くねえんだ。な、ジェシカ。
ああ、間違いないぜ。ジョージ兄さんの言うことはいつも本当だよ、マリア。
ジョージお兄ちゃんはいつも本当。
うん。僕は嘘をつかないよ。
I don't lie. Is that gonna hold up for the rest of the series, though?
みんなと一緒にいれば何も怖くないんだよ。
I mean, maybe it sounds mean to say that, but after being all familiar with Higurashi, I'm like, I don't trust anybody.
ジョージお兄ちゃんは嘘をつかない。信じる。みんなと一緒にいれば怖くない。怖くない。
I will only trust Maria with my life and Jessica. Maria jumped into George Aniki's arms and hugged him tightly. And maybe George, if he doesn't turn out to be a liar, I hope not. After Aniki patted her head, she jumped away again. Her facial expressions had undergone a 180-degree change, turning back to normal. She was once again the ordinary Maria.
みんなと一緒だからもう怖くない。
ああ、そうだぜ。もう平気みたいだな。
Yes.
マリアは強いな。偉いぜ。
マリア偉い。
Yes, you are. Yes, you are awesome.
どうしたんや、マリアちゃん。船酔いだったんか？ん？
まあそんなとこです。もうじき着きますね。
The harbor was already drawing near. I guess that will mean a time skip. Ooh, night catcher. I wonder if this means I arrived at half of the story. Oh? What's this? Is the watch gonna be relevant, I wonder? The boat gave a big shudder. See if we docked at the harbor. Yeah, it was a clock. I wonder if it was relevant or not. Oh god. Seems the boat driver came out and jumped to the pier with the mooring rope. A large man in a tuxedo was waiting there for us with a warm smile. I didn't recognize his face, but judging by his clothes, I guess he was a servant of the Ushiromiya head household. Who is it? Damn, look at that chin! Welcome, milady!
だいぶ遅かったので心配しておりました。
心配ありがとう。ウドの大木が怖がっちゃってよ。それで徐行運転だったってわけ。マジでうぜえぜ。
うるせえ。いつか逆の立場になったら覚えてろ。
When the shoe's on the other foot, you'll remember this. What kind of expression is that? At this rate, word will spread to the whole family that I'll be the big conversation piece during dinner. Nobody likes that. Even without this, everyone be talking about me because that 6-year gap. Now I've given them an even juicier topic. Damn it, why does the Yoshiromiya head family have to live on this isolated island? I don't know, ask him. In the meantime, the boat had finished its mooring. A small plank was lowered so that we could get down. One by one, our pens came up inside the boat. I am!
ありがとう。お久しぶりね。ゴーダさんもお元気？
ありがとうございます。
I can't get over his chin.
毎日元気にお勤めをさせていただいております。
It's just a V. A
バト
W.
ラ君はゴーダさんとは初対面じゃない？確か6年前はお勤めじゃなかったですよね。
はい。ですので、バトラ様とは初めてご挨拶させていただき、はじめまして、バトラ様。
I have to get used to people saying Batla sama.
俺もタッパには多少の自信があったんだがでっけえ人だな。
I'm pretty confident about my height.
紛れもなく初対面だぜ。こんな大男あったら絶対忘れないさ。どうもはじめまして、バトラス。
お待ち申し上げておりました。一昨年から後ろ宮本家にお仕えさせていただいております使用人のゴーダと申します。
I'm actually starting to wonder, since everybody's getting their kanjis shown, I wonder if it plays a narrative role.
どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。
Also, there was a sound there?
何かご用命がございましたらいつでもお申し付けください。
ゴーダさん、お久しぶりです。
ジョージ様、ご無沙汰をいたしております。お手をどうぞ。
あんた相変わらず大した接客のプロや。もし職に困ったらいつでもわしに声をかけるんやで。いつでも雇ったろ。
これは身に余る光栄です。どうぞお手を、秀吉様。
Goda-san then lent a hand to everyone as they disembarked, greeting them as they passed. His speech and mannerisms had the refined polish of a professional. He was very graceful in contrast with his initially thoughtful appearance. His large size made him seem a bit scary at first, but he was much more polite than my first impressions had led me to believe. He claimed to have served on the island for 2 years, but he had doubtless worked at a similar job somewhere before. After everybody disembarked, the mooring rope was untied and the boat started to steer away from the harbor. It was probably returning to its home port on Nijima. Shouldn't you leave the boat there? The captain waved his hand in farewell. Oh boy, so we have our characters stranded here. That's a good recipe for disaster. Maria conscientiously, whatever, waved her hand back.
なんだかさっきから違和感があると思ったら、海猫の声を聞いてないぜ。
海猫
Umineko? Roll credits?
鳥のか
If I remember correctly, whenever we came to this island in the past, the seagulls always greeted us with the lively nya-nya cries. Because of that, whenever I hear the cries of seagulls anywhere else, I get the feeling that I'm coming to a family conference. So, seagulls that do like, you know, nya. Except for the small part of the island where those of Ushiromiya head family live, Rokenjima has been left uncultivated, which apparently makes it a paradise for wild birds. Suppose there was a cliff somewhere that housed this huge seagull colony, so this island was always full of seagulls. Not having those seagulls here to greet us made me feel a bit lonely, so Battler really likes seagulls. I would not be happy seeing seagulls! So they claimed them Umineko because they make the same sound as a cat? Alright, apparently. What's wrong, Battler?
ああ、ローザおばさん。いやー、別に。海猫の声が聞こえないんで、なんか寂しいなーって。
あら、そういえばそうね。
I wonder if Umineko is also written as, like, seagull is written as, sea cat? Since Umi is, sea and Neko is cat. Oh my god!
海猫たちも今日はよそで集まりがあるからかな。マリアも海猫見たかったの？見たかった。
なんだってこうもまるっきりいねえんだ。ジェシカがみんな焼き鳥にして食っちまったんかな。
物騒なこと言うんじゃねえ。マリアが勘違いするだろ。
Did you get punched?
ジェシカお姉ちゃんが焼き鳥にした。
してない。そんなの私がするわけねえだろ。
Because
そうだ
birds.
そうだ、ジェシカが焼き鳥にしたんだ。皮につくねにレバーにネギマン。
Oh no. Imagine being Maria's voice actor. I wonder how she felt. Just doing the stupid yu sounds all day. Probably just as good as doing Pika Pika all the time. As I made fun of Jessica, Maria tagged along, looking like she was having fun. Oh, I never guessed she was such a good sport. Alright then, from today on, I'll make you my #1 follower. No, don't. As I smiled at her, she beamed, looking overjoyed, possibly because she was happy about this little connection we'd made with each other.
違うよ、マリアちゃん。野鳥って天気や気圧の変化に敏感なんだそうだよ。今夜あたり天気が崩れそうだしね。末早めに引き上げてるのかもしれないね。
Oh, makes sense.
焼き鳥じゃない？ジェシカお姉ちゃんが焼き鳥にしたんじゃない？
I hope she didn't.
違う。私はそんなことしないって。ほら、バトラも嘘だったって認めろよ。
Give me a short second. I need to use the bathroom. Okay, I'm back. So...
バトラ君マリアちゃんは素直な子だからそういう冗談でも真に受けちゃうんだよ。冗談も少し選んだ方がいいよ。
George Aniki gently scolded me. Even though I outstripped Aniki in height, Aniki was Aniki, of course. There was no choice but to obediently apologize.
おう。ありあり。マリア、今のは冗談だ。海猫たちは今日は素でおとなしくしてるってさ。
バトラは嘘？ジョージお兄ちゃんは本当？
Had she actually been tricked despite all the fun she was having? Her pure eyes made me feel guilty. Maybe I went a little overboard with her after all.
ああ、そうだそうだ。ジョージ兄貴が言ったのが本当だ。天気が悪いんで今日は引き上げたんだろうよ。いなくなったわけじゃないんだぜ。ね、おばさん。
そうよ。明日以降天気が良くなったらきっと戻ってきてミャーミャーと声を聞かせてくれるわ。
ミャーミャー。
天気良くなって戻ってくるの待つ。明日まで待つ。天気良くなるまで待つ。
Maria was in a lighter mood and was looking forward to tomorrow, when the seagulls would come back and fill the skies. Still, George Aniki really was amazing at taking care of kids. I think I remember Aniki taking good care of me as well when I was at Brat 6 years ago. Aniki, that's probably your gift.
ジョージ君は小さい子の面倒を見るのがうまいわね。保育士さんでも務められるんじゃない？
I wonder if I'll manage to get to the mystery part of the novel of this episode today. The intro is being a lot longer than I expected.
なあ、ジョージ兄さんの転職っぽいぜ。私的には社長室でビジネスってよりそっちの方が兄さんのイメージだぜ。
まさか保育士さんは立派なお仕事だよ。単なる子供好き程度に務まる仕事じゃないね。
本当にジョージ君は謙虚ね。でもバトラ君も子供のあやし方が上手よ。さっきはほんの少しの間だけどマリアとっても楽しそうだった。これからも今みたいに遊んであげてね。冗談は選んで。だけど
Aunt Rosa winked at me, giggling a little. She's a real mother, I thought to myself. She's happy to see Maria having fun.
おいローザそれにガキどもも 何やってんだ。行くぞ。
Let's get going. I want to get to the murder mystery.
今行きます。
The old bastard was waiting for us to hurry up. Yeah, we needed to get moving. We might as well have this conversation after setting our luggage down in our rooms.
それでは皆様、お泊まりのゲストハウスの方へご案内させていただきます。
Jeez, Mr. Goda, I still cannot get over that chin.
どうぞこちらへ。
It's a powerful chin! Goda-san called everyone and led the way. Kumasawa-san brought up the rear. And we going. And we still going. A serpentine twisting path led through a dim forest. It ran a bit uphill. I guess the path was made all twisty so the slope wouldn't seem too steep. But personally, I'd have been happy if they'd had the guts to make some stairs in a straight line. Cowards, make stairs! No doubt they made the path twist on purpose, to put on airs of distance and importance. I guess so. Before long, we saw garden-style stone steps. Ah, from here on, I do have some memories. Go up these, and at the top of the stone steps, we saw a beautiful guest house. Woo! There's the house. Its facade was lovely, of course, but more importantly, we couldn't enter its doors without having our hearts stolen away by the splendor of the beautiful rose garden spreading before it. Oh my god, it has rows of specific colors. Like rose. The poor servants who had to plant this. Like, kudos to them. After climbing to the stone steps, the people greeted by this rose garden gave voice to their impressions one by one.
今年は少し花に元気がないんじゃない？やっぱり夏があまり暑くなかったせいかしら。
そのせいもあるかと思います。去年の先に比べると、今年は少々実を取るのが残念です。
Even so, it was a delightful rose garden. I remember that even 6 years ago, a huge number of roses had greeted us every year. This rose garden was the first thing that greeted the people who came to Rokenjima. Even our parents, who came every year, couldn't help but give voice to their admiration. In fact, it seemed to have undergone a power-up from the garden in my memories of 6 years ago.
いつ見てもすごいわね。自宅にこれだけのバラ園があったら、さぞや素敵でしょうに。
よせよ。誰がバラは虫とか病気とか大変なんだぜ。
そうね。キリエ姉さんは毎日バラの手入れをしてて虫がつかないようにしてるそうよ。
え
？Oh, that's a new sprite.
そうなのかよ。そんな話は知らないぜ。
What the fuck are you talking about, Rosa?
そうなんです。この人の場合はバラの方から虫を求めていっちゃうから、どっちかというとたちの悪い食虫植物ってところね。
ああ、そういう話かよ。たく。ローザ、今日はそういう話は勘弁してくれよ。もうそういうのはすっかり足を洗ったんだぜ。
どうかしら。ルドルフ兄さんは遺伝子的レベルでだらしないですし。
大丈夫よローザさん。あんまりおいたするバラなら根元からちょんって切っちゃうから。
物騒なお話ですね。
モテる男はいつもリスクと隣り合わせなんや。わしも来世じゃもうちょい美形に生まれたいもんやで。
だから秀吉兄さん、モテてなんかないって。キリエも物騒な話なんかやめろい。俺のバラがしおれちまったじゃねえか。
Oh, your talking has destroyed my rose!
来てごらん。こっちのバラは特に立派だよ。
バラが立派。
かぐわしい匂いだぜ。俺のエレガントさにぴったりだな。
おいよせよ。マリアが真似してトゲで怪我するだろ。
She yelled at me as I leaned in to smell the roses scent with an exaggerated gesture. I thought she was overreacting, but when I turned around, I saw Maria imitating my every gesture and George Aniki smiling broadly at us.
ほら、マリアちゃん、気をつけて。
That's cute.
バラのトゲは痛いよ。
は ジョージお兄ちゃん、このバラだけ変。変？どうしたんだよ。
Maria pointed at a single rose. I immediately understood why she found it odd. In the midst of all these magnificent roses, one single rose was just starting to wilt. There wasn't any particular reason. Some flower roses flourish and others wilt. I think this is gonna be symbolic in some way or another, though. That's all there is to it, but Maria seemed concerned about the only unhealthy one in the group. It must have made her feel lonely.
このバラだけ元気がなくてかわいそう。
他はみんな元気なのに、これだけかわいそう。
まあ、咲いたり枯れたりはそれぞれだからな。一足先にしおれる代わりに、そのバラは他のどのバラよりも早く開花できたんだと思うぜ。
そうだよな。いっぱい咲いて、その役目を終えてお休みに入ったってだけのことだと思うぜ。そんなに気に病むことはねえさ。
It seemed that Maria's pure sensitive nature was just making her feel some emotional pain for the rose that wilted alone. Even though she understood the logic of it, it still felt lonely to her.
じゃあマリアちゃん、帰るまでの間このバラをお世話してあげるといいよ。
George Aniki straightened up and felt around in his pocket. He then found out the wrapper from the candy she had been sucking on the plane. He twisted it into a thin string, then gently tied it to the rose as a sort of marker.
なんだか可愛くなったね。
I think I remember this from the
この
anime.
バラの目印だよ。後でお水とかをあげに来てごらん。バラさんもきっと喜ぶと思うよ。
お水とかをあげに来る。
せっかくだからこのバラさんに何か名前をつけてあげるといいよ。そうするとバラさんも喜ぶと思うし、マリアちゃんと心もきっと通い合うと思うよ。
名前。
So still wore her usual sullen face, Maria crossed her arms and began to consider this intently. At the very least, she appeared to have completely pulled out of her slump. Nice going, Aniki.
ジョージ兄さんって昔っから包容力があるよな。尊敬するぜ。
だな、人徳ってやつだろ。後で爪の赤をもらってきてやるから一緒に飲もうぜ。
この庭園はお前が子供の頃にもこんなに立派だったんか？
I don't know.
私が出てってからよ、こんなに立派になったのは。前の庭園の方が素朴で愛着があったんだけどね。兄さんがちょっと悪趣味にいじりすぎたのよ。前の方がずっと良かったんだから。
エヴァ、ポジティブシンキングやで。昔は置いといて、今のこの美しさをめでなあかん。その方が心が安らかになるで。
別にそんな意味じゃ。ただ私は昔の方が素敵だった庭園をあなたにも見てほしかったなってだけよ。
それでは皆様、そろそろお部屋の方にご案内いたします。
Gora-san called to everyone to ask if we were ready, but our hearts had been completely stolen away by the rose garden that none of us had seen for a year. We didn't pay much attention to him. Since we weren't a travel group, it wasn't like we had strict schedule to follow. Besides, since our parents were visiting their old home, full of nostalgia, it wasn't like they had let themselves be urged on by anyone or anything. Understanding the situation, Gora-san continued to wait, smiling widely, until our parents got tired of the roses and told him to guide us to our rooms.
おや？おーい、カノン君やないか。
Oh, I know who it is.
久しぶりやな。元気か？
Uncle Hideyoshi suddenly shouted, "Oh boy, it is time. There he is. It's the extra special boy." The direction he was waving was a slender boy. Meeting him right after a huge man like Goda probably emphasized his small stature. The boy was in the middle of transporting piled up gardening tools and the like in a wheelbarrow. When he realized he was being called to stop, he set down the wheelbarrow, took his hat off, and bowed his head.
Konnichiwa.
I figured he was probably younger than me. He looks like an edgelord, and I realized by the general atmosphere surrounding him that he was another servant. He greeted us in response to Uncle Hideyoshi's call, but he seemed to like he might be pretty unsociable most of the time. It was greeting that lacked feeling. When Goda-san noticed that our interest had shifted towards him, he went to the boy's side and introduced him to us.
バトラ様、ご紹介いたします。後宮本家にお仕えしております使用人の一人です。カノンさん、お客様にご挨拶を。
はじめまして、使用人のカノンです。
I am the servant, Kanon. Yet my first impression was wrong. He seemed to be unsociable, or at least not so good at talking. Compared to Goda-san, who was extraordinarily polished as a servant, he couldn't help but feel an experience typical of his age. When Goda-san urged him to whisper in a whisper to give a bit more of an introduction, the boy named Kanon only cast his eyes downwards.
Kanon-san.
He looks already grumpy.
もう少し何か挨拶することはできませんか？
いえ。
No.
僕たちは家具ですから。
Oh my god! No, because we are furniture. He didn't seem to be refusing to greet us out of spite. Rather, he seemed to have fallen silent because he didn't know what else to say to us in a greeting.
カノン君は寡黙でさ、余計なおしゃべりはしない性分なんだよ。愛想は少し悪いけど、根はいい人なんだぜ。誤解しないで。ここに勤めて3年になるんだっけ？確かゴーダさんより1年長いんだよな、カノン君。
Even though he wasn't exactly giving a terrible first impression, Jessica hurriedly backed him up. I see. Apparently his unsociable nature causes him trouble a lot.
そっか。よろしくな。俺はバトラ。18だけど、君はいくつだい？
Nothing. I am furniture. He fell silent as though wondering whether or not it was a question he'd have to answer. But here again, Jessica plowed ahead.
確か私たちの2つ下だから16だったよな。
Okay.
はい。そうです。
It looked like he would prefer not to tell us his age if given the choice. It was probably because he thought we'd look down on him for it. I remember that he was around his age. I hated being asshole that was by adults. I see, 16, huh? That's gotta be delicate time. Which means that it is the edgelord time. It is the time to be a goth and to be like, nobody understands me because I am furniture. Which means I probably asked something I shouldn't have.
近いとして嬉しいぜ。気さくにバトラって呼んでくれよな。俺も君のことはカノンって呼ぶぜ。
ありがとうございます。お気持ちだけで結構です。バトラ様。
Jessica looked panicky for some reason. She seemed to think my impression of Kanon was getting worse because of his refusal. Well, as a girl, Jessica probably couldn't understand the fretful male heart at his age. As his elder, even by just 2 years, I took it upon myself to be understanding of that.
カノンさん、もう少し愛想よくはできませんか？笑顔も使用人の義務ですよ。
申し訳ありません。努力します。
ゴーダさん、カノン君もいろいろ頑張ってるんですよ。
Is he?
ねえ。
It looks like he was often warned about being unsociable. And apparently he hadn't improved one bit. Goda-san kept his business smile but let a small sigh of resignation escape.
それではまだ仕事がありますので、失礼します。
If you'll excuse me. Bye. It looks like Kanon himself was... fuck. Sorry, I skipped the text. After another perfunctory bow, he turned around and started pushing the wheelbarrow again. Just then the wheelbarrow suddenly wobbled and fell, scattering the load. I guess the wheelbarrow's single wheel got caught on a pebble and lost its balance. Well,
何をしてるんですか？さ、早く片付けて。
Goda-san urged him to hurry in a quiet voice, as though hinting that it was shameful for a servant to appear clumsy in front of a guest. Kanon wordlessly reloaded the wheelbarrow with the fallen object, as if to say that he understood quite well without being told. He seemed to be fine with the light-looking gardening tools, shovels and such, but he looked like he was having trouble getting his arms around and lifting up some sacks of fertilizer.
大丈夫かよ。そそっかしいな。ほら。
お嬢様、お召し物が汚れます。ここはお任せください。
With a smooth motion, Goda-san took the shovel that Jessica picked up. Behind him, Kanon-kun was having trouble with the sacks of fertilizer. Yes.
安心しろよ。俺が着てるのはそんなお上品なものじゃねえぜ。
It does look kinda custom made
それ
though.
によ。
With the whole wing and whatnot.
俺はレストランで落ちたフォークをウェイトレスに拾わせるってやつが大嫌いなんだ。
I looked at the other bags that had fallen. Of course they weren't right, but for me it was a piece of cake. I see, flexing. Kanon-kun looked at me surprised. It was a... Yes, that is the face of surprise right there. It was the face of someone who never would have expected to receive help from a guest.
バトラ様、結構です。僕が全てやりますので。
気にすんな。こう見えても鍛え方が違うぜ。
Since Kanon-kun looked like he hadn't gone through his growth spurt, he was stuck with a sort of weak body. This kind of weight would have been too much for him.
結構重いね。カノン君が苦労するのも無理はないよ。カノン君、気にしないで。
これぞ俺の見せ場さ。これでさっきの船の分はチャラだよな。
この程度のことじゃさっきの大騒ぎが帳消しになるもんかよ。カノン君にも後で教えてやるよ。バトラったら面白いんだぜ。落ちる落ちる。
As he did this, I piled all the stuff back into the wheelbarrow.
お見苦しいところをお見せして申し訳ございませんでした。
ささもう結構ですよ。行ってください。
Letting the guests who were supposed to feel welcome see such a disgraceful thing must have been hideously embarrassing for a servant. Pressed by Goda to hurry up and go, Kanon-kun left.
ゴーダさんもいじめすぎよ。意地悪言わないで、あなたも手伝えばよかったんじゃない？
これは至りませんで、誠に申し訳ございませんでした。
Without even a twitch in his smile, Goda-san apologized elegantly.
カノン君もええところはぎょうさんあるんやで。ただ若いんかの。いろいろと損をしとる。もったいないわ。
気難しい年頃さ。そっとしといてやれよ。
A prickly age for someone like him, I guess. I too was an edgelord at 16.
ルドルフ様は手厳しゅうございますこと。私ほど使用人で寡黙なものはおりませんとも。
You're anything but silent, old lady, and I love you for it. Everyone smiled wryly at that obvious lie. Even she herself didn't believe that, no, not in her wildest dreams. She must say that to lighten the mood. Yeah, that's the kind of character Kumasawa Ba-chan used to be. The one stiff atmosphere had cleared up at once thanks to her cheerful smile.
そろそろ荷物を置きたいわね。ゴダさん、部屋割りはどうなってるのかしら。
昨年と同じになっております。さあ、ご案内いたします。どうぞこちらへ。
We headed towards a trim, elegantly simple guest house. This was going to be our temporary quarters for the night. Kanon watched over a hedge as the guests all entered the guest house. Then he let his eyes fall on his heavy sacks of fertilizer piled up in the wheelbarrow. In his mind, he kept going over his previous mistake. Oh my god, Batter, big and strong, had picked up sacks in front of him. The sacks Kanon could lift himself, as if they were feathers. It wouldn't be extremely difficult for an outsider observer to guess what emotions that Pharaoh had stirred up in Kanon. But as far as you could tell by watching him hang his head, there was something that he just couldn't let go of. Muttered words escaped his lips. But those words he murmured were so soft that they didn't reach even his own ears. Kanon hung his head, slightly biting his lower lip. What is it? You also want to be strong, or...?
バラの庭園は記憶にあったんだけどよ。このゲストハウスっつうのは記憶にねえな。これ建てたのは最近か？
Torarian Visitors Retreat was written on a gatepost-like thing, but since everyone called it the guest house, I followed their lead. The brand new Western-style guest house, which stood overlooking the roses, had a magnificent design, carefully done in harmony with the garden.
正解だよ。建ったのはつい一昨年さ。それ以降は僕たちはこっちに泊めさせてもらってるんだよ。
年季の入ったボロ屋敷よりこっちの方が好評みてえだしな。私も自分の部屋をこっちに持ちたいぜ。
マリアも持ちたい。持ちたい。
I guess you could say my own house was upper class, but to me it felt completely ordinary compared to the head family. The display of wealth was shocking, and was the fact that they built this kind of awesome guest house for guests who came over only a few times a year.
エヴァ様、秀吉様、こちらのお部屋をお使いくださいませ。ルドルフ様、キリエ様はこちらのお部屋をお使いくださいませ。
やっぱりここは綺麗で上品でいいわね。
Western style architecture truly is wonderful. Yeah, I guess.
ほんの2、3日なら洋風もええやろが、ずっといて落ち着くのは断固和風やで。日本人は畳の上が一番くつろげるんや。
Oh, I really want to try laying down on a tatami mat
新しい家を
someday.
和風にするか洋風にするかで喧嘩してね。お父さんが和風で着工させたのを母さんまだ根に持ってよく言い合いをするんだよ。
ジョージ兄さんのところは両親仲が良くて羨ましいぜ。うちなんか冷め切ったもんさ。
Damn.
そのくせ私の成績の話だけは連帯しやがる。
Frosty parents? All the rooms seemed to be for 2 people. I was grateful, since I wasn't gonna be forced to share the same room with the old bastard under the pretext that we were family. Yeah, lucky for you. And anyway, I figured that those two wouldn't be able to enjoy themselves with someone like me.
何気持ち悪い顔で笑ってんのよ。どうせ下世話なこと考えてるんでしょう。
he is, yes.
下世話なんてとんでもない。
I'm just thinking about you ball busting my dad, nothing else.
どうぞごゆっくりお過ごしくださいませ。あ、いててててて。いえたよ、クソ親父。
Once again, that pulled my ears from behind.
バカなこと言ってんじゃねえ。俺は胃がキリキリ痛み始めてて、とてもそんな元気はわかん。今回はお前が主賓だろうが、せいぜい親父や兄貴たちに可愛がられろよ。親父の前では言葉遣いにだけ気をつけろ。あの人、本当にシャレが通じねえからな。ジェシカちゃん、我らが当主様のご機嫌は最近どうなんだ？
去年から相変わらずか。余命3ヶ月余命3ヶ月って割には相変わらずピンピン。
Only 3 months.
カリカリイライラしてるって話です。
今年も相変わらず不機嫌ってわけね。お守りができるのはやっぱり源氏さんだけなの？
親方様も源氏さんにだけは心を許しておいでのようです。私たち下々では近頃はお目通りすらなかなか叶わず。
また書斎に閉じこもって怪しげな黒魔術三昧じゃねえのかな。
The black magic? Yes, probably yelling about Beatrice.
だから構わねえけど、匂いが立ち込める系は勘弁してほしいもんだぜ。ついでにそのまま書斎から永久に出てくんなってんだ。
年長の人にそんな言い方をするもんじゃないよ。後宮家を復興させてくれた大恩人なんだから、もっと感謝しないと。
Should we?
ごめん。
After being rebuked by George Aniki, Jessica had no choice but to take back her thoughtless remark. The Shiromiya family was wealthy beyond belief, but of course that meant that all its members were a bit strange and completely out of touch with the world at large. And at the top of the chain, the family had our grandfather. He seemed especially strange and terrifying even for our family. He keeps yelling about some Beatrice in his bedroom. That said, he was getting a stomach ache earlier, and I imagine that he reflected the honest feelings of all the adults here today. No doubt they were jealous of us grandchildren, who could just play around and laugh without care. And not be yelling about, "Oh, Beatrice!" From those stories that told me, the family head was a violent man who ruled with his fists, beating his children, even his daughters, mercilessly with a wooden sword. Jesus Christ! If he was so strict and uptight about that, why couldn't he have been a little more conservative with his kids' names? Because of that, even his grandkids have had to suffer. Gee, a wooden sword. Ugh. Anyway, I can't say I have any trouble believing those terrifying stories about him. I don't remember meeting him very often, but I think I recall looking extremely grumpy all the time, always making people cower with that sharp gaze of his. I remember that the room's atmosphere got so tense whenever he was around, you couldn't even breathe. What my dad said about me being the guest of honor now carries a little more oomph for me.
6年前は俺も小学生だったが、失礼のある態度なんか取ったら大変なことになるかもしれねえな。怖い怖い。
確かにこわもてだけど、そんなに硬くなるほど怖い人じゃないよ。決して理不尽なことは言ってないもん。口下手なだけでちゃんと筋は通す人だよ。
ジョージ兄さんは昔から成績優秀で一族の鏡じゃねえかよ。私たちとじゃじい様の待遇が全然違うぜ。私なんか木刀で引っ叩かれたことあるしよ。
Yikes, I'm so sorry.
尻だぜ尻。それも乙女の生尻をよ。
ジェシカちゃんは本家の跡取り娘だもん。おじい様も特に目をかけてくれてるんだよ。その厳しさは期待の気持ちの裏返しだと思わなくちゃ。
冗談じゃねえぜ。その跡取りってやつはジョージ兄さんに譲るよ。私が担ぐにはちょいとしんどいぜ。
I think I already said it before, but Jessica's the girl heir to the head family. Yes, you already said that. We're only cousins in branch family, so she probably feels a totally different sort of pressure than we do.
ほう、ジェシカお姉ちゃんが重い？マリアが持ったら軽くなる？
サンキューな。大丈夫。マリアちゃんには押し付けねえよ。この十字架は私が墓まで背負ってくよ。安心しなって。
She was grateful for Maria's innocent concern, but Jessica's face still seemed to contain some of the uneasiness she felt towards the future. Maybe we were in the same boat. Any high schooler with exams approaching would have trouble hiding their anxiety for the future. Yeah, understandable.
お母さんとマリアはこの部屋よ。
バトラ君は僕と一緒にこっちの部屋だってさ。
おお、なになに、こりゃ驚いた。親たちの部屋より広めじゃないのよ。わお。
どうせいとこ同士で集まるだろうと思ってよ。大きめの部屋にするように言っておいたんだ。
Nice.
おお、マリアもこっちがいい。ママと一緒よりこっちがいい。おお。
そうか、マリアもこっちがいいか。よし、ここは俺とジョージ兄貴の部屋だが、特別に出入りを許可してやろう。お母さんには内緒だぞ。
Yes. Aunt Rosa was right behind us, but Maria still answered, striking the air with her fist clenched tight. After settling the luggage in their rooms, our parents had gathered again in the corridor.
おいガキども、お前らはどうする？
Especially in that context is never good. Yeah!
ここでいとこ同士おしゃべりでもしてるか？
It's pretty bad. It seemed like they were heading to the mansion to announce their arrival. Normally they would make us follow them and greet everyone together, but if that had been the case, that would just told us to come, that'd be the end of it. He said it's okay if we don't come, so what will we do?
どうせもうすぐお昼や。
It's gonna be lunchtime before long
子供
anyway.
はそこでくつろいでたらええ。
Better let the
それ
kids
に
unwind
表で遊べるの
here.
は下手をすると今のうちだけかもしれんしの。
マリアも行く。
マリアはここでお留守番してなさい。いたずらをしないでおとなしく待ってるのよ。
Since Maria was being told to house sit here, we certainly couldn't leave her on her own. George Aniki noticed this immediately and gave a clear reply for all us cousins.
じゃあ僕たちはお言葉に甘えて留守番してようか。1年ぶりに積もる話もあるしね。
それがいいわ。バトラ君なんか6年分積もってるんだしね。
へいへい、お子ちゃまな俺はおとなしくお留守番してるぜ。
Like a good boy.
熊沢さん、私もこっちに残るからよ。あとは大人に任せて若者は退散してるぜ。
それがおよろしいでしょう。奥様にはそのようにお伝えいたします。
それでは皆様、お屋敷の方へご案内させていただきます。どうぞこちらへ。
他の子はともかく、ジョージは成人してるんだから連れて行った方がいいんじゃない？
そんなんでジョージだけ仲間外れはかわいそうやで。いとこ同士の交流も大事や。ほな、行ってくるで。
The adults left one after another. They left in the same formation as our trip from the harbor, with Koda-san leading and Kumasawa taking up the rear. As we gathered in the room assigned to us, George Aniki asked us to excuse him for a second. He rushed over to Kumasawa-san, who was following behind the disappearing adults, and seemed to ask her something. He soon finished his business and came back.
どうしたんだよ、兄貴。
ああ、なんでもないよ。ちょっと聞きたいことがあっただけさ。
お？
マリアにも聞いて。マリアにも聞いて。
何かな。ジョージ兄さんが私に聞かなくて熊沢さんには聞くことってなあ、全然見当がつかねえぜ。
I think she knows.
いや、誤解だよ。ジェシカちゃんが何を誤解してるのか知らないけど。
Aniki was pretty tongue-tied. It was almost as though he felt guilty about something and Jessica knew exactly what he was worried about. Looks like it. At any rate, it's no fun if Jessica gets to know about it and not me.
なあ、マリア。俺たちだけのけ者なんてねえよな。何の話か聞きてえよな。
バトラとマリアも聞きたい。バトラとマリアも聞きたい。
Wow! I fooled around with the Ewing together with Maria. I see that.
だから大したことじゃ。
さっつけ。兄貴にしちゃ嘘が下手だぜ。拍手しやがれ。マリア、お前は右脇をくすぐれ。俺は左脇だ。
マリアは右脇だ。バトラは左脇だ。
ちょっと二人ともやめて。やめ。
Tickle jail. Stop. Marie and I played around, chasing George Aniki as he tried to escape, rolling on the bed. I realize high schoolers aren't supposed to bounce around like kittens, but I still miss this kind of fun. Tag team. Yes, tag team tickle jail. A warm, cozy kind of fun.
ジョージ兄さんが熊沢さんに聞いたのはね。まあ、ほら、あれだぜ。
Now I see the fighting game references.
兄さんも本家は1年ぶりだからよ。
I'm wondering.
その間に辞めた使用人とか入った使用人とか、そういうのがいたら挨拶したいって、そういうことらしいぜ。
I'm wondering what other references the fighting game has.
挨拶する。マリアも挨拶す
る。なんだよそれ。全然やましくねえじゃねえかよ、兄貴。違うな。マリア、騙されるな。兄貴は何か隠してるぞ。尋問再開だ。
More tickle jail!
おり
ゃ。やめてよ本当に。
They're gonna kill George with tickles.
もうやめて。
Oh my god, are they beating him up now?
多分掃除とか昼飯の準備とかで忙しいんだよ。大丈夫。後でちゃんと挨拶に来るぜ。ゴーダの出しゃばりの出迎えよりシャノンの出迎えの方が良かったってんだろ。
シャノン？シャノン。ああ、思い出したぜ。そんな子もいたな。今も使用人やってんのか？元気かよ。
Shannon? Are we gonna see her soon?
そういや、夏日姉さん、最近頭痛の方は一時だいぶしんどそうにしとったろ。
Oh, there she is. I completely forgot her for a second.
心配をしてくれてありがとう。そうだ、これ夏日姉さんにお土産。いつもありがとう。あなたには何かをもらってばかりね。これは紅茶？ペパーミントとレモンバームのハーブティー。
Oh, peppermint and lemon balm sounds
頭痛
good.
によく効くって有名なお店のブレンドなの。姉さんにも効くかなって思って。
Ah, crap, I forgot to read again, out loud again. She managed to grow up without gaining the venomous nature of her siblings. Her kind words got to Natsuhi to soften her expression for just a moment. But it wasn't enough to melt her stony gaze, hardened as it was by long years of mental stress.
そういえばあなた、いっつも頭痛だって言ってたわね。しっかりなさいな。ジェシカちゃん、今年は受験でしょ？人生の節目じゃない。母親のあなたがそんなじゃ頼りないわよ。それに夏日姉さん、私より3つも若いんだから、もうちょっとしっかりなさい。
ごめんなさい。生まれつきの頭痛持ちなもので。
Even under normal circumstances, Eva sometimes failed to choose her words carefully. Her comments aimed at Natsuhi contained shards of obvious malice, though she hid it with a smile. Of course, that fact didn't escape Natsuhi. She frantically contained her urge to grimace and pretend to ignore Eva.
うちのバトラ君も今年は受験でしょ？ルドルフさんも少しは関心を持ったら？自分の息子のために夏日姉さんみたいに頭痛になるくらい真剣になりなさいよ。
俺が何か言えば必ず反抗するやつだぜ。
He automatically rebels.
じゃあなんて言うんだ。むしろ逆で遊んでていいぞっていうのか？あいつそういうのだけは素直に聞きやがるぜ。秀吉兄さんのところは受験本当にうまくいったじゃないですか。
Battler sounds like the kid that the dad is like, Battler, don't play with knives, and he's like, fuck you, dad, I do what I want.
ぜひ子供操縦術の秘訣を教えてくださいよ。
そうやな。何のために勉強するのかっちゅうことを説いたかもしれんな。個々の勉強に意味があるわけやないんや。そう、勉強っちゅうのはわからんことを自分で調べて身につけるという行為の練習なんや。これができんやつは社会に出ても使い物にならん。国語算数ができると言ってるんやない。勉強し身につけることを学べっちゅうことやな。
ご立派ですわ。うちのジェシカにもそれが理解できればいいんだけど、今のままではとてもじゃないけど後ろ宮家の跡取りとしては。
いいじゃないの、無理に跡取りにしなくても。女には女の幸せというものもあるんだし、それを親が押し付けちゃ悪いわよ。
予算買えば子供の育て方は家それぞれや。押し付けがましいのはあかんで。
So,
ごめんなさい。
so the family dinner is just gonna be everybody sniding at each
夏日
other?
姉さんも気を悪くしないでね。
Bring it on, I want to see the roast party. So the light shining in through the window was quite warm despite the cloudy weather. There was a dark mood about the room, which was probably causing headaches for more than just Natsuhi. As if to sweep away that mood, Kirie brightly made a suggestion all present.
でも本当に素敵な香りの紅茶ね。早速いただいてみましょうよ。レオポルドの紅茶なんて日本じゃ確か銀座でしか買えなかったはずよ。
キリエ姉さんはお詳しいですね。買ってきた甲斐がありました。
Kirie and Rosa stood up from their seats and made it as if to prepare the black tea, but Natsuhi forestalled them.
お二人ともありがとう。それは後でいただきましょう。うちの者がすぐお茶を持ってきますので、どうぞおくつろぎください。
二人とも後にしろよ。ウェルカムドリンクくらいごちそうになろうぜ。
They were basically just trying to get out of that room like, I can't do this. Rudolph gave a subtle signal with his eyes for them to sit down again. Kirie and Rosa understood instantly, obediently returned to their seats. The initial greeting of the guests was complete, so it was time for them to be served some tea. It was embarrassing for the host that the tea was late, especially now that the guests were talking about making tea themselves. Natsuki bit her lower lip, frustrated by the ineptitude of the servants who were late bringing the tea. Seeing her face, Eva immediately started to giggle. Of course, Shannon had no way of knowing what was taking place in the parlor. She came pushing a serving cart piled with teacups. For no apparent reason, Natsuki gave her a pained look, and Shannon couldn't help but flinch without knowing what she had done wrong. There she is! It's Shannon!
失礼いたします。お茶のご用意をさせていただきます。
おう、シャノンちゃん、久しぶりやの。ますますべっぴんさんになりよったな。
いえ、どうも。
She's
おしゃべりは配膳を済ませてからになさい。お茶が冷めます。
申し訳ございません、奥様。
She apologized like a small frightened animal, bumped against the serving cart, and made a jarring racket as she dropped several teaspoons. Oh no! Her clumsy mate made Natsuki's expression turn even darker, which made Shannon quail even more.
いいのよ、夏日姉さん。挨拶の一つくらいしたってどうってことないわよ。
それは大丈夫です。冷めてはおりませんので。
Don't be mean to Shannon!
シャノン、早く配膳を済ませなさい。
失礼しました、奥様。
Natsuki's irritation was obvious by now. The ineptitude that delayed the tea, the clumsiness of the servant, everything pointed to the incompetence of Natsuki's everyday leadership, making her lose face. As the person in charge of the Oshiromiya head family's kitchen, allowing that clumsiness to be exposed, today of all days was surely nothing less than a total humiliation.
よそよ、夏日姉さん。シャノンちゃんだって頑張ってるのに、いじめちゃかわいそうだぜ。
Yes. Don't bully Shannon.
いい香りね。お茶の銘柄を聞いてもいいかしら。
申し訳ございません。後ほど調べてまいります。
Kiryu was trying to be nice, hoping to get through the tent smooth. However, Shannon had embarrassed herself instead, darkening Natsuki's and the room's mood. Uh-oh. By this point, Eva was audibly giggling.
なーに？シャノンちゃん、自分で入れてるものが何かもわからないの？ダメよ。そんな怪しげなものを来客に振る舞っちゃ。
What if it's poison?
こんなお茶じゃ銀のスプーンでもないと飲めないわよ。
すみません。すぐに用意を。
ねえシャノンちゃん、銀のスプーンって何に使うか知ってる？
Oh my god, don't be so mean.
銀じゃないとダメなのよ。なぜかわかる？
いえ、
A teasing smile rose to Eva's face as she stared at Shannon setting the table. By itself, Eva's expression was sweet in an impish sort of way. However, the words being spun from her lips held the keenness of a razor within them. Jeez. Shannon tried with all her might to avoid Eva's continuing gaze. Realizing that Shannon was hard-pressed for an answer, Rosa gave some timely help.
銀は毒に触れると曇るって言われてるの。シャノンちゃんも一つお勉強ができたわね。
They were acting as though this tea needed to be tested for poison before it could be drunk. In Natsuki's eyes, this was an insult to both the tea and to herself serving it. Rudolph laughed flippantly and patted Eva's shoulder.
姉貴に銀食器なんていらねえだろう。毒舌の姉貴が一舐めしたら、銀の皿だって真っ黒に曇っちまうぜ。
わしはその毒舌を毎日聞かされとるから、もう毒に耐性がついてしもたわ。エヴァもわし相手には構わんが、耐性のない相手にはちいと加減せんとな。
あらあらひどい。シャノンちゃんにお茶の知識を教えてあげただけじゃない。
Everyone followed the lead set by Hideyoshi's horse laugh and crap. Only Natsuki didn't join in, but for the time being, the conversation inside the parlor could now be mistaken for a lively, friendly chat. One was actually a snarky battle. Everybody is just roasting each other subtly. As Shannon finally finished setting the tea table and tried to leave, Kiri apologized to her in a low voice for not being able to help. Shannon gave a light bow and made a hasty retreat. Yes, get out of there! Shannon cast her eyes downwards as she pushed the cart down the corridor. Anyone seeing the pitiful way she looked might easily conclude she's been bullied in some way. No! I forgot that they were siblings. Oh my god! Oh my god! Cannon glared hatefully in the opposite direction of the parlor. The preparations for the tea had been delayed by some trifling problems in the kitchen. Those problems were not Shannon's fault. In fact, it had been Golda's mistake. Murder in progress? I hope so! There was a show of like Golda would give up a splashy job by putting in the tea when the guests arrived. He had ended up wasting time preparing the tea once again. So when he realized he wouldn't be able to score any points for his job, he pushed the task of setting the table on Shannon, who happened to be passing by. Why, Chin Guy? Why are you mean to Shannon? You might call it a clever move on his part, but there could be no doubt it was a cowardly one. I wonder if Kanon is thinking to herself like, alright, which of them do I start with? Kanon's silence vividly expressed the distance between Shannon's words and how she actually felt. Suddenly, they both felt someone's presence and whirled around. A middle-aged man stood there. It was Keiji, the head servant. Oh god, imagine turning around and just finding this man staring at you like straight, like... I would be freaked out a little. Shannon humbly obeyed and promptly made to push the cart and leave. However, Kanon appealed to Genji in silence, bearing something in his eyes that he could not express in words. In murderous intent, I guess. Alright. Alright, sis. I won't kill them today. From the shadows in the hallway, an old woman wearing an apron watched over them, so Kumasawa. Oh, okay, the text changed.
しかし、ゴーダさんに嫌われているのは紛れもない事実。ゴーダさんは後宮本家へいらっしゃられるまで、どこかの立派なホテルにお勤めだったそうです。そこで身につけられたというお仕事ぶりは、そりゃ大したものだとは思います。ただ、ゴーダさんはここでは最も年季の短い使用人。ご自身のそれまでの積み重ねによるプライドもあられたのでしょう。彼は自分より長い年季を持ちながらも、未熟で人生経験も及ばないシャノンさんとカノン君をことあるごとにいびられるのです。また、気の毒なことに、夏日奥様にも嫌われております。もちろん、年季という意味では奥様の方が長くこの家におられます。ただ、こればかりは奥様にも同情しなくてはなりません。本当に親方様も罪作りな方でございます。ご自身のちょっとした気まぐれが、奥様にこれほどまでの劣等感をお与えになるとは、
Oh, I wonder what she's talking
奥
about.
様とて内心はあの二人に辛く当たる言われは何もないことを重々承知してはおります。しかしそれが理屈で分かっているからといってほいたわしや私には何もできず、こうして物陰から見守ることしかできないのです。
Kumasawa-san is almost the only good servant here, I guess, aside of... Oh! What? Oh. What's this? Midnight. That kind of scared me a little. What happened? Anyway, there were both girls and guys here. Plus, we had people over a wide spread of ages, adult, high school, and elementary school. Even if we just talked about our own lives, the other three kept listening attentively. I think I'm finally getting used to all this.
しかもマリアも6年前からは想像もつかないくらい成長しちまったからよ。正直なところ少しだけ違和感を持ってたんだが、こうして話をしているうちに中身はあの頃から何も変わってないことが分かったぜ。
同じ言葉を返してやるよ。バトラだって6年ぶりだってのに全然変わってねえぜ。図体がいくらでかくなっても中身は相変わらずお子様だってことだな。
マリアもお子様、マリアもお子様。
マリアだっていつまでもお子様じゃねえぞ。お子様から可愛いお姫様に成長してくんだからな。そうしたらまな板みてえな胸もすぐジェシカ並みになるぞ。そしたら揉ませてくれよ、約束だぞ。
No.
約束する。
No, punch him.
ダメだよマリアちゃん、そんな約束しちゃダメ。
約束したから揉ませる。
No!
約束は守る。絶対守る。
Battle, I'm gonna call the police.
マリア、お前本当に素直ないい子だな。お前と結婚する未来の旦那さんは
ウィーウー
幸せ者だぜ。
っていい話にすり替えつつ約束を保持してんじゃねえぜ。マリア、その約束はなしなし。
約束取り消し。
Yes, it's cancelled.
やっぱりバトラ君も揃って4人で集まらないといとこが集合した気がしなかったね。この6年はやっぱり寂しかったよ。
そうだな、こういうふざけた話にはならなかったな。でも建設的な話はできてたと思ったぜ。将来に対する心構えとか受験とか。
悪うございましたね。俺が来たらおまぬけなドタバタばっかりでよ。
Yes. When you're here, we only talk about stupid stuff.
でもマリアは今年のが楽しい。
そうだね、僕も同感。今年が一番楽しいよ。
Maria's sincere words probably spoke for everyone present. George Aniki stroked Maria's head and she giggled like a happy kitten. Meow!
失礼いたします。
She's here.
お食事のご用意ができました。
A timid knocking sound and the equally timid voice of a young woman came through the door. Jessica answered brightly.
シャノン、入れよ。バトラは覚えてるだろ。
Jessica stood up from the bed and opened the door. There stood a servant girl who must be about our age.
ご無沙汰いたしております。バトラ様、6年ぶりでございます。シャノンです。
Trembling as little as she noticed me, she bowed deeply. Don't.
ジェシカにも驚かされたが、シャノンちゃんにも驚かされたぜ。あんたもすっかり美人になったじゃねえのよ。
もったいないお言葉、強烈に存じま。
しかしよ、この島じゃよっぽど食事の栄養価が高いんじゃねえのか。何を食ってどこを鍛えたらそんなにでっかいお胸になるんだか。
Oh my god, I'm gonna punch him.
ジェシカとどっちがでけえか、ちょいと触って確かめさせてもらうぜ。
No! With both hands poised and saliva dripping from my mouth, I close in. For the sake of justice and my personal honor. What justice? I'd like to point out that I don't suffer from some strange disease that makes my lymph nodes itch until I scratch my neck open, and which can only be prevented by fondling breast. Is that a Higurashi reference? This is just a better style of method of communication. If I slowly close in on her like this, odds are 8 or 9 out of 10 that I get slapped or clobbered, right? I would say odds are 11 out of 10 that you get slapped and clobbered. I guess I know who's gonna be the P-mode dummy. Yes. Use Battler as a P-mode dummy. So I can use this Battler Sama original technique to spark a gag like that can break the ice. Well, it also means I really get to touch them on that 1 in a 10 chance though, right? No, 0 out of 10. Yeah. I'd like that would ever happen. No! At that point, my hands were less than a centimeter away from Shannon-chan's boobs, but the counter-strike had yet to come. She blushed and lowered her head in embarrassment when she realized what was going on, but she just stood there with both hands pointedly joined in front of her, not even trying to resist or cover her breasts. Hey, I wasn't planning on this! Please hit me right now, or I'm seriously gonna... Yes, thank you! Which is why I was glad that Jessica chose that time to drive her elbow into the back of my head. Yes, thank you, Jessica. Why didn't you just stop? Dick?
いやいや、すまんぜシャノンちゃん。魅力的な胸に思わず吸着されそうになっちまった。
Oh my god, Battler.
さすがにあの間合いまで来たら犯罪確定だろ。ダメだぜ。抵抗しなきゃよ。
ですけど、バトラ様は大切なお客様ですし。
あのな、お客様でも犯罪は犯罪。女の子の胸はだいたい10センチくらいからが僕識別圏だな。2センチ圏まで侵入してきたら、これはもう領空侵犯だぜ。スクランブル発進で即ビンタを食らわせてやれ。
そんなことできません。No! 私たちは家具ですし。
No! Of course she didn't want her breast touched, but if a guest so desired, she was prepared to sacrifice herself to sweet their wants. No! A girl like this needs some urgent protection. Yes, she does. Protect her, please. But not you.
こんな献身美徳な子がいるとは。軽いめまいすら覚えるぜ。でもダメだ。ダメなんだ。俺がいやらしい顔で迫る。ハットス。いや、エッチ。そういうお約束じゃないとオチがつかねえんだよ。頼むよ、お願いでよ。俺こうバチンとバチンと。
What is wrong with you? Jesus.
お願いは聞けません。家具ですから。でも命令ならお聞きします。それが務めですから。
Oh no.
じゃあ命令させてもらうことにするよ。
Yes, let's go. Let's go, George.
次からバトラ君が胸に触ろうとしてきたら、平手打ちで反撃すること。いいね。
はい。
Yes, let's go, George.
おかりました。以後そのようにさせていただきます。バトラ様、ご承知おきくださいませ。
Shannon-chan announced this while bowing elegantly to me. Her expression was radiant. I gave her a thumbs up to show her I was fine with that.
6年前はお手伝いさんの連れ子がついでにお手伝いみたいな印象だったんだけど、すっかり一人前の使用人さんだな。今年で何年になるんだ？
はい、おかげさまで10年ほどお使いさせていただいております。
The kanji for a name are read as Shannon. Now here's another name that's far from typical for a Japanese person. Back in the day I was a kid myself, so I accepted her name without paying it much attention. Thinking about it now though, her name's pretty unusual, even though she's not a member of the Ushiromiya family. Maybe it's like a servant's professional name or something. If so, that might explain why her name's so familiar to Kanon-kun, that kid I met early in the Rose Garden. She's a long-term servant who served here since she was 6 years old. Her appearance had changed so much that I couldn't match her to the person of my memories, but we both knew each other 6 years ago. The shy part of her had always been there, but she did seem to have developed to the allure you'd expect of a girl of her age. Especially, in her breasts, yes.
さっき会ったカノン君は彼女の弟なん
Me
だ
too,
よ。
George.
弟
That
という
expression.
わけでは。でも、私のことを姉と慕ってくれます。何か失礼なことはしませんでしたか？
I kind of like how the proportions look in this background. The characters look like they're floating over the bed, like diagonally. In this background, it's really
相変
funny.
わらずいつも通りだぜ。もうちょっと愛想よくすればいいのによ。もったい。
カノン君がご迷惑をおかけしたようで申し訳ございません。
別に迷惑なんか何も。同じ男としてわかるさ。ありゃ気難しい年頃だ。愛想が悪いのは当たり前だぜ。
マリアもよく言われる。愛想悪いって言われる。
Oh, poor Maria.
マリア様は愛想悪くなんかありません。
一緒が良かった。
食事の準備ができたんだっけ？
はい、失礼いたしました。お食事のご用意が整いましたので、皆様をお屋敷へご案内いたします。
Shannon bowed again formally and returned to her duty mode. We realized that if you made her stick around for any more light conversation, it would actually make it harder for her to do her job. We got up off our butts to avoid interfering with her work any further.
じゃあ、お屋敷に行こうか。みんなもお腹が空いてたところでしょ。
だな。ゴーダさんがいる時の飯は楽しみなんだよ。あの人、どこぞの有名ホテルでシェフをやってたらしくて、かなり料理の腕があるんだぜ。
But he's a bully.
ほうほう。それ楽しみ。行こうぜマリア。ガツガツ犬みたいに食い散らかすぞ。
犬みたいに食い散らかす。
ダメダメ。バトラ君の言うことはいちいち真に受けちゃダメだよ。全部冗談なんだから。さあ、行こう行こう。
Under Shannon-chan's guidance, we head towards the mansion. Oh, I don't know at what point I am in this chapter, but I'm considering breaking up this read-through into two. It had apparently been built shortly after the war, so you could feel the dignity of almost half a century hanging about it. The building was gorgeous on the surface, but old as it was, equipment such as its AC and heating were apparently quite frail. According to Jessica, midwinter was especially tough with all the drafts. Have these people ever heard of Kotatsu? As we entered the entrance hall, an aged servant greeted us. Now him, I remembered. Genji-san had been working here longer than anyone, filled the role of head servant.
バトラ様、お久しゅうございます。
As our eyes met, he greeted me with a calm, composed voice. His style wasn't as graceful or refined as Goda's, but despite its simplicity, it communicated his feeling very well.
本当にお久しぶりっす。お元気そうですね。
おかげさまで健やかに過ごさせていただいております。バトラ様こそご立派になられました。親方様の若き日に少し似てこられましたな。
Oh no!
俺がじい様にってことは、さぞやじい様は若い頃モテたろうな。
ここからはシャノンに代わって私がご案内申し上
I
げ
mean, he had a lot of children.
どうぞこちらへ。
Shannon-chan bowed deeply and watched us leave. After that, we headed towards the dining room under Genji-san's guidance. Genji-san, just like Kumasawa-san, stood in stark contrast to us young people who had grown beyond recognition over the last 6 years. His appearance was exactly the same as in my memories from 6 years ago. It was though time had stopped since the last time we met. Genji-san was extremely quiet and diligent person. He was basically grandfather's closest aide or caregiver, and you might even call him grandfather's companion of many years. In fact, it seems like he was grandfather's side even more often than my late grandmother was. That's... I wonder if there's more to it. According to Jessica, grandfather trusted him more than any of his blood relatives. But I wonder how long he served. I never got the details, but I heard something about him being here since the very beginning when this mansion was first constructed. Which would mean that he's dedicated half of his life to serving here. It's easy to see why he's so trusted. We passed through a massive hall that extended up into the second story of the mansion with no separating floor. I spotted something that hadn't existed in memory of years 6 years ago. Ooh! It's her! Or at least a painting of her? It was an awfully big portrait hanging right there in front of the stairs that rose to the second floor. Without thinking, I stopped walking, captivated by it. Since I'd stopped so fast, Maria, who was following behind me, ran into my back.
ああ、悪い。なあ、ジェシカ。あんな絵、前はあったっけ?
I pointed at the big prominently displayed portrait in the hall. Everyone else stopped too.
ああ、そっか。バトラが来てた頃には、あれはかけられてなかったっけ? いつからだったかな。
確か、僕の記憶が正しければ、一昨年あたりだったと思うよ。
さようでございます。一昨年の4月に親方様がかねてより画家に命じて描かせていたものをあそこに展示なされたのでございます。
あのじいさまがね、わざわざ描かせてか。
The portrait suited his western mansion, and that woman in the elegant dress gave off a sense of refinement. I couldn't have guessed her age, but her sharp eyes and the strong will she seemed to possess made her look youthful. She seemed somehow different from the composed, middle-aged women you often see in famous pictures. If she'd had normal black hair, I might assume it was a portrait of my long-deceased grandmother in her prime. However, she had beautiful blonde hair and didn't look Japanese at all.
で、誰だい? このご婦人はよ。
Maria answered that simple question enthusiastically as though proud she knew the answer.
Maria 知ってる。ベアトリーチェ。
Oh, Beatrice!
なんだって?
ベアトリーチェ。魔女だよ。バトラ君は昔聞かされたことない？
魔女？って、この島の?
I think I already said this, but Rokenjima is a small island, only 10 kilometers in circumference. However, there's actually pretty massive, considering that only the Oshinomira family lives here. That's kind of repeated info. So only the harbor and the area around the mansion were set up to be lived in. Beyond that, the island remained as untouched as when it wasn't uninhabited. The vast and empty forest had absolutely no lights, no phones, or people passing through. To understand how dangerous that is, you need to forget your common sense as a city dweller. After all, if you happen to fall down a hole in the depths of the forest and sprain your ankle, no one would come save you, no matter how much you cried or screamed. Sinister. Then once the sun went down, the forest would be wrapped in complete darkness since there were no streetlights. And since there were no signs, it'd be easy to get lost and confused, losing your sense of direction inside the dark forest. Nowadays, most people see a forest as a peaceful place. But to the people of bygone eras, before the light of civilization drove out the night, forests were as geographically separated from civilization as the sea. There were oceans above the ground. Fishermen who go out in the ocean are putting their lives at risk despite their technical knowledge. In the same way, hunters go out of the forest are in danger, despite having this specialized knowledge of their own. If children were to play in such dangerous forests, something terrible might happen. Someone's parents must have thought so. Maybe grandmother first said it, or maybe it was grandfather himself. Or perhaps the story's been passed down on this island since ancient times. There's a terrible witch in the forest, so you must not go in. At some point, this ghost story of Rokenjima was born. This is the legend of Rokenjima's witch. That's why, when we talk about the witch on this island, we're referring to the master of that vast and savage forest. Come to think of it, when I stayed at this mansion as a little kid, during those eerie nights when the wind and rain pounded on the windows, I remember being terrified by a story of the forest witch who roamed around searching for human sacrifices. So, Beatrice, huh? When Aniki mentioned it, I searched my memory and was sure I recalled hearing a name like that when I was little.
なるほど。しかし、あの魔女伝説の魔女に、ベアトリーチェなんておしゃれな名前がついてたとは、とんと忘れてたぜ。じいさまめ。孫たちが信じないもんだから、わざわざ絵に描きやがったか？
じいさまの妄想の中の魔女だよ。この絵を掲げた頃から、現実と幻想の区別がつかなくなり始めた。
Oh dear.
私たちにとっては想像の中の魔女に過ぎないけど、じいさまにとっては、彼女はこの島にいる存在、いる。だから、それを理解することができない私たちにもわかるよう、あの絵を描かせたって言うんだけど、気持ち悪いったらありゃしないぜ。
お嬢様、親方様にとっては大切な肖像画です。親方様の前でそのようにおっしゃられることがございませんよ。
わかってるぜ。頼まれても言わねえよ。
Jessica glanced at the portrait with an irritated gaze before turning away.
行こうよ。
I can see nobody likes this
食堂に
painting.
みんなを待たせてるよ。
Except Kinzo, I guess. And Maria.
お腹すいた。
Only a small portion of this island was controlled by the Oshinomiya family. All the lawless remainder was the domain of the witch Beatrice. You might even call her the true ruler of Rokenjima. I felt a faint revival of that unsettling sense of misfortune, ooh, which I'd felt when I learned of the tutelary god shrine being struck by lightning. And I remembered that Kumasawa-san tried to tell an ominous story about Rokenjima before Jessica stopped her. I don't know what she was planning to tell us about this island, but I do know one thing. It isn't the Ushinomiya family that rules Rokenjima. It's the witch Beatrice, that's right. After all, this is the witch island. We walked up the huge double doors that led to the dining room. Kenji-san knocked.
お子様方をお連れいたしました。失礼いたします。
Doors were open and we were invited inside. The dining room, which looked exactly like you'd imagine a rich person's dining room to be, had a super long table that was obviously positioned with no purpose other than to make guests conscious of their rank. Our parents were already sitting in accordance of that ordering. Damn. Thanks for a greeting, man. The old bastard pressed us to sit. The only guests in that group of people were the spots we were supposed to sit, which only made us feel our tardiness all more. The seat at the head of the table, called the incipient's chair, was for the mostly high rank reserved for a grandfather. It was still empty. He probably wanted to show up last for a dramatic effect. From the perspective of someone facing the incipient's chair head-on, the seating order went from left to right, with the lower-ranking seats progressing in rows of two further away from it. So the left-hand side of the first row, closest to the incipient's chair, was where Uncle Kraus should have sat, since he was the second highest in the rank. It looked like he hadn't arrived yet, so that seat was empty. Is he dead? Across from his chair, on the right side of the first row, sat the eldest daughter of the family, Aunt Eva, who was the third highest in the rank. The left-hand side of the second row was the fourth highest in the rank. There sat my damn dad, Rudolf, the third of the siblings. Across from him on the right side of the second row sat Aunt Rosa, the youngest sibling. At this point you might expect their husbands and wives to come next. But nope, the left-hand seat on the third row, rank number 6, belonged to Jessica. Opposite of her was George Aniki. I sat next to Jessica. And Maria sat across from me. Then finally next to me on the left-hand side of the 5th row sat Aunt Natsuhi, the 10th highest in the rank. Opposite of her was Uncle Hideyoshi. Next to Aunt Natsuhi in the 6th row, in the final seat on the left-hand side, sat Kirie-san. The seat opposite to Kirie-san was empty, even though silverware had been set there and everything. According to this ranking system, the spot where was Aunt Rosa's husband should be sitting. Even though he wasn't supposed to be coming, his place was made up. Normally, ranking system of this sort gives spouses equal position as their partners, but to Yoshiromiya's family system was unique. Maybe it's a remnant of male chauvinism? If you start with the assumption that the woman's womb is just something to be borrowed, then the children of their direct descent would come first, directly followed by the grandchildren. That sounds kinda gross. In other words, spouses have no blood ties, they are there for place at the end of the line. It's terrible, but by the system my grandmother would be ranked even lower than me if she were still alive. That's terrible. If they're youth, they obey their children, after they get married, their husband, after aging, their children. There's an old saying, women have no home in any realm. Ow! Ouch! Long ago, when I was too incapable of figuring all this out, I thought it was great that we could all chat in our little groups, adult siblings with adult siblings and cousins with cousins. However, now that I can re-examine the seating order after growing up a bit, it stirs up some very complicated feelings in me. Natsuhi was married to the eldest son and was the de facto number 2 in managing this family, sat to my right, which meant that she was 2 steps lower than me in the ranking order. It was hard to imagine what might be going on inside her heart. That's why I made a small apologetic gesture towards her before sitting down.
お久しぶりですね、バトラ君。ずいぶん背が伸びましたね。
はい。食ったり食べたり食事したりしてたら、いつの間にかこんな身長に。
さすが男の子ね。身長はいくつくらいあるの
？180かな。つーかおばさん、そこは食べてばっかりじゃねえかって突っ込んでくだ。
ああ、ごめんなさいね。
After a short pause, she did laugh with me, but it seemed she couldn't figure out what she was supposed to be laughing at. This woman is Aunt Natsuhi. She's the wife of the eldest son of the family, meaning she's my father's oldest brother's wife. Oh, jeez. Is it simpler if I just call her Jessica's mother? It feels too bad to say it like this, but while I didn't exactly dislike her, I didn't particularly like her either. She hardly ever spoke with us kids, and all my memories of her involve her talking to the aunts about complicated things with a scary look on her face. In fact, we hardly ever exchanged words. I spent a long time trying to figure out how I should approach her, though my efforts seemed to have ended in failure. Silverware sat neatly on the table, but the meal itself hadn't been brought in yet. As a general rule, you couldn't start a meal until the person sitting at the head of the table arrived. So, as long as grandfather didn't come, which would be put on hold definitely. Kinzo's probably not even gonna come. Not even the appetizers would arrive. Simply put, the silence in this room was caused by our parents enduring their hunger while they waited for grandfather to arrive. However, the grandfather from my memories would always show up on times to meals like this. He was the kind of person who would never be so late that it kept everyone waiting, especially after the entire group had arrived. Is he dead?
遅えな、じいさま。俺の記憶じゃ、時間に厳格な人だったと思うんだけどな。
まあ、6年前はそうだったかもな。最近はそうでもねえよ。というか、もう自分の世界オンリーって感じで、会食にも顔を出さねえぜ。さすがに今日くらいは足並みを揃えてくれるって思ってたんだけどな。まあ、私は来ない方が気楽で嬉しいけどよ。
ジェシカ。
When her mother scolded her, Jessica stuck her tongue out and looked away. Chad. No way around it. Might as well wait until our host arrives. When I glanced at the clock, I saw that it was almost 12:20. Ushiromiya Kinzo, the aged family head of the Ushiromiya head family. This man could be seen in his study. The clock had already passed noon, but he didn't even attempt to rise from his seat. With his spectacles on, he built a growing pile of books with elaborate bindings when he read intently. You couldn't really say that he was having too much fun to stop. Rather, he filled the room with a sense of impatience or perhaps a sense of impending danger, as though every second was wasted a tragedy. In the sealed room, a dense dust danced through the air, which was thick with the stench of chemicals that exuded a mix of suspicious odors. Those odors were somehow sweet and heavy. If anyone with a normal nose came in here, the first thing they'd do would be open a window and ventilize this room. The knocking against the study door had been going on for a while. A voice calling father sometimes mingled with the knocks. And Kinzo heaved a deep sigh. He snatched shut the old book in his hands and slammed it on the table. Then he yelled at Kraus, who was still knocking on the door.
Yakamoshi! その音を止めぬか愚か者!
Damn it, Kinzo, people are starving.
叩けば扉は開かれると誰が教えた? そのバカ者は貼り付けにしたぞ。お前もそうされたいのか?
お父さん、年に一度の親族会議の日ではありませんか。皆下に集まっています。どうかおいでください。
Klaus called out to his father through the door. Kinzo always shut himself up in the study, hating it when nearly anyone, even his family, entered the room. For that reason, Kraus had no choice but to call to him from the corridor like this.
私にかがうでない。皆とは何か。私をここから引きずり出そうとする者どもなのか。ならば殺してしまい。
Jesus.
バラバラにして薪にして魔女の炉にくべてしまい。その炉には鍋をかけて苦いおもぎを煮るがいい。黙示録の煮汁はそれでも私をここから連れ出そうとするバカ者どもに飲ませてやれ。残りは酒につけるのだ。ああ、源氏はどこだ。源氏を呼べ。苦害の魔紙を用意させろ。緑の妖精のささやきが届かぬ。ああ、源氏はどこだ。源氏を呼べ。
Jesus Christ, what is wrong with you? On the other side of the door, Kraus, Nanjo, and Genji kept waiting for the master of the house, who stubbornly refused to come out. Come out and eat!
すっかり嫌われてしまったようだ。
Looks like he hates me to the core.
もう私の声では何も届かんよ。
However, since it was the duty of the eldest son, he had pride as a formality.
金蔵さん、あんたの顔を見に、息子や娘や孫たちが来てるんじゃないか。ちょっと顔を見せてやったらどうだね。
うるさい、黙れ。私に意見するというか南條。
Yes.
貴様など呼んではおらぬ。私は源氏を呼べと言ったのだ。さあ急げ、すぐに呼べ。時間は常に有限だ。人たちはすでにラッパを構えているぞ。なぜにそれがわからぬか愚かな羊どもめ。
It's not that deep, Kinzo. Just come eat lunch. Kinzo slammed an old heavy book against the table over and over. The racket clearly expressed his great displeasure. What a baby! Kinzo put his spectacles down and flew up from his chair. Oh, he flew up? He just went meow! He spread his arms wide open as if to sing to a packed opera house, as if appealing to someone, and he yelled, "Oh my god!"
なぜだ。なぜにいつも私には邪魔が入るのか。すべてを捨てよう。すべてを捧げよう。その見返りに私は一つしか求めないというのに。ああ、ベアトリーチェ。お前の微笑みをもう一度見られるならば、私は世界中から美少を奪い取り、すべてをお前に捧げよう。
Man, you're not okay.
イナゴの軍団長たちよ。世界中から美少を刈り取り収穫せ。
I guess he's dying.
すべてが汚らわしい。すべてが煩わしい。なぜこの貴重な一日に私は邪魔を受けねばならぬのか。
Is he dying? I think so.
何を怒鳴ってるのかもさっぱりだな。もう頭がどうにかなっているのだろう。
クラウスさん、実のお父さんにそりゃあんまりじゃないかね。
親父はすでに死んでいる。ここにいるのは親父だったものの幻さ。いずれにせよ本人にここを出る意志がない以上どうにもならんね。
金蔵さん。
Bob, guess there will be no lunch.
私は下に戻る。
Your choking sounds came out of the study. Well, I think he's dying.
ゴーダの自慢のランチをこれ以上無駄に冷ましてしまうことはない。親類たちにとって当家での数少ない楽しみだろうからな。
Okay, is there gonna be a scene change? If there is, I might save for now. I think we're gonna make 2 saves. Give me a short second. Alright, I'm gonna check real quick if the scene ends soon, because if it does, I'll save there and stop at that time. So Kraus spun around, he looked at his watch, mumbling and acting as though he had wasted time doing something he knew would be in vain.
源氏さん、親父殿がお呼びだ。相手を頼む。
かしこまりました。
南條先生、食事に行きましょう。いつまでもここにいると、この甘い匂いで味覚までおかしくなってしまう。
Without waiting for Nanjo, Kraus went downstairs. Genji urged Nanjo to go and eat. Nanjo glanced between the study door and Kraus' back as the latter disappeared from the stairs, then out a deep sigh.
すまんが、源氏さん、頼みます。はい、お任せください。お酒はなるべく与えないように。あれは常習性が強すぎる。
源氏はまだか。何者が源氏を阻んでいるというのか。
Man.
源氏はどこだ。源氏を呼べ。
さあ、ここはお任せください。
What does he need Genji so badly for?
すみませんな。
Nanjo bowed slightly and descended the stairs. Genji watched him leave and then knocked on the study door.
親方様。
Let me check the time real quick. Yeah, I think it should be time I start to finish up for today. Okay. Let me just check if I properly saved just... Okay, it was this tile and... No! I'll check the character sheets tomorrow. But for now, for today, that was a lot of reading, and I'll stop for today. I'll pick up the rest next week, next Thursday, and I'll hopefully finish the first chapter of Umineko. We didn't get to the itsy bitsy spicy stuff yet. It was mostly just exposition and lore and character interaction, so I hope you still managed to be entertained regardless. We'll see what it looks like. Things are slowly leading up to murder and the murder mystery. So I'm hoping next week when I continue, we'll get to the actual to the more interesting spicy parts. Okay. Thank you everyone again for coming. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I'm normally not used to reading out loud for that long. And I'm not very much of a reader. But regardless, I hope you still liked it anyway. I'll see you again next week, next Thursday at around the same hour. And we'll see if we'll get some blood and murder. Alright everybody, have a nice night, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye!
You can hide in the grass. Oh, they won't.